Hello, lovely people. This is Sun Fruit Dan. Just kidding. Benton here. What's happening? Might be a mostly icon on the screen broadcast as we wrestle uh, the motel Wi-Fi because I ain't leaving today. That's right. I've decided that I'm feeling poorly. I'm going to wallow in my own misery to some extent, although not fully. And I thought, why not have a relaxed, chill, laid back Tuesday live stream? Yeah, right. And while we're waiting for folks to come in, I'm considering the purchase of this renewed, refurbished Sony digital camcorder. And I understand there's many different options than just an actual camcorder, but I'm specifically choosing the camcorder format versus other, types of recording. So please understand, I'm doing this in the only in the context of a camcorder, digital camcorder. Not interested in GoPros and GoPro style cameras at this time for this purpose, right? Well, why would you use this, Mr. Benton? One may ask. Well, the possibility of some IRL content in the future. Some of the folk, while also live streamed, a combination of live stream and as well as recorded content, whatever we're calling that. So presumably there would be a live streamed version, and then maybe perhaps a lightly edited, video that would be released under the video tab, probably as a premiere, right? Most likely. So we're looking at the possibility of picking up this handy cam. Although 9.2 megapixels, not that great. However, from what I understand, my limited knowledge is that's not the totality of what one would be looking for, and compared to whatever my phone is doing with the the level of those recordings, I'm sure it would be fine. And then mainly I like the low cost. Certainly, I'm quite adept at beating up on my equipment. Certainly. So if it were to get lost, stolen, or destroyed, perhaps not the end of the world. $170. So we may very well be picking up one of these in the near future, as well as viewing the related items. 3-pack of batteries with a charger for $21. Again, I've spoken on this, I believe yesterday, just how, or this morning, I don't remember, it all runs together, but I was addressing, the idea of how accessible and affordable, in spite of the economic woes, that this is a great time to be alive when it comes to affordable consumer electronics, especially compared to the 80s and 90s. Oh, no notification. Good to know, sir. Yeah, YouTube plays some games, certainly, and maybe the algorithm could tell I was a little off my game yesterday, right? Who knows? I mean, I read, and good to see you, by the way, Mr. Musical's a Secret. And sorry, I was thinking of other things briefly, but again, we're just chilling out. I'm all keyed up. I'm feeling froggy. I'm spoiling for a fight in some regard, aka cranky old man here. So doing my best to work through all of those dynamics. And I think the THCO is going to continue to be a thing. I'm pretty sure I'm just riding this thing off the rails, meaning at a certain point, it just will no longer get me high. And then and only then will I stop. And shout out to Music Holds a Secret, amongst others, who pointed out that I do seem to be suffering from some blind spots with respect to my excessive vape use with alternate or synthetic cannabinoids. And I just have to assume there's adulterants and poison in these vape carts. I mean, there's no way there's not. It would be foolish of me to just say, oh, well, it's completely fine. No, I'm sure I'm inhaling some version of poison and God knows what. So thank you, folks, for challenging me on that basis. And I remember when I started up every time I start these vapes up, I know how rough they are. What's up, Rebecca Joe? Good to see you. I know how rough they are, and in fact, I cough a lot generally. And I've noticed lately, right about the time people were pointing out that I'm engaged in excessive vaping, I noticed that I'm not really coughing that much. So I'm almost like making myself cough, and it reminds me of a friend of mine from Oklahoma that I met out west in Oregon. Um, and he every time he smoked pot, he would cough excessively. And I asked him about it, and he would just more or less said, "Well, I don't smoke cigarettes, and it seems like probably the best thing for my lungs is just immediately cough out whatever in the world I'm putting in there," which does make sense, right? That there is some logic to that. How effective that would be, I don't know. Man, Amazon, it was right about the time I was letting my Amazon Prime lapse, but they let me sign up to get offered a deal, which who knows if the deal works or not. But it was on their Amazon Day or whatever they call it. I had a chance to be eligible to purchase like a 40-inch for like 99 bucks. Might have been a 50. I don't even remember. Some 40 to 50-inch, one of those Fire TVs. It's damn near free, man, at this point. So almost. Yeah. 80-inch TV, 4K TVs, $400. Exactly. Exactly. I remember saving up uh, for my JVC. I had a nice JVC CRT television, but it had the actual. Well, and in fact, no, the tube wasn't flat. I had one of those Trinitrons. I really enjoyed my Trinitron, by the way. I had a 25-inch Trinitron that I think was an open box. And I think maybe it finally crapped out. And then I went to the JVC, which I was actually a fan of JVC gear back in the day for the money. It was pretty good shit. But yeah, this stuff is trash compared to today. My dad spent no bullshit, something like 15 to 20 G's on a very nice hi-fi, audio file version, of a home stereo, not the top of the line in 86, but really pretty fucking close, right? And that shit is nothing compared to what I can buy a DAC, a digital audio recorder, um, you know, go optical digital out of a computer, even if I have to buy some add-on box to give me the optical output, $200 pair of headphones, and that shit's going to sound way better than what he was rocking with for 15 grand back then. I mean, think about that. That's real. So a better, and I got an entire, 3 computers and an entire streamer set up here for more or less, definitely less than $1,500. Including all sorts of rigs for to turn my phone into a camera and all sorts of stuff going on. Hey, what's up, Shively? You do appreciate me. In fact, you proved it, as others have. And not that I'm demanding or asking anybody to prove anything, but you certainly proved it, Mr. Shively. I appreciate you, brother. It means a lot because you may be surprised to learn I do find myself down in the dumps at times, and especially with my built-in excuse of my health woes. But I don't really identify with that. I don't go there. I always dislike the people who, whatever their ailment was, tended to become their identity, right? It was like a replacement for a proxy for a personality in some regard. Shout out to Yurt, by the way. I thought Yurt provided some excellent counterpoints to some of my recent diatribes, especially with respect to the nature of the realm and my contention that, at least on some level, and yeah, I may seem to be backpedaling from my comments, but just to clarify, it does on some level, I don't think it's arguable that this is a nightmare dystopian beast system, literal hell realm. However, that does not mean that the being, indeed, if one is willing to, understand that humans have access to certain spiritual abilities and such, in my view, inarguably, that a being or collection of beings certainly could utilize their own creative force that I've asserted never lies dormant, and in fact brings something new into existence in each moment. Certainly, those mechanisms could and sometimes are utilized to create a reality that may very well, for that time, seem as if it's paradise. And shout out to Yerd, who certainly, it appears, has put in the work in conjunction with his wife to place himself in such a situation. It is not luck. Some people like to say, oh, he's lucky. You know, luck has very little to do with it. Now, fortune certainly plays a part, as fortune and misfortune. And Yurt does like to reference perhaps some of the misfortune he experienced in his youth. So, yes, his points are certainly well taken, but I'm in a little different place and I'm operating from a different perspective necessarily, by the way. Thank you. That cop was a douche. Not even a cop, by the way. And we're going to play that video. Let me play that video while I've got enough. Yeah, no notification. Yeah, and see, I got to think it was just my relatively poor showing yesterday in conjunction with I only did 45 minutes this morning, low amount of views. I think YouTube really looks at these dynamics. Like, I think it's just my opinion. I'm sure they're tuned into like exactly when a channel starts to, jump the shark or head in the wrong direction. And I think YouTube may be playing the averages to some extent just based on recent performance, but I'm not too worried about it. I feel like I'm going to have an ability to pull out of what most people probably don't even understand I'm talking about, but a bit of a creative, downturn, or God forbid I say tailspin. Yeah, okay. Rebecca got a note. And I would encourage people, if they're so inclined, what I do is I go to my subscriptions tab, and then anything that says notify me, I just click on it. So then that does seem to increase the chances of receiving the notification. Now, some people actually, well, regardless of that, I don't need to tell you folks how to YouTube, but that's what I do. That's been effective. And then once I get the notification, if it's just some premiere of a prepared video and I'm doing something else, I just, don't click on it. Right. But I want all the notifications I can get, and then I will decide, whether or not to actually watch the content. But yeah, thank y'all for letting me know that. But yeah, not even a cop, by the way. Oh yeah, those Vegas that's the heaviest shit ever, man. Ex-wife number 2 got a bonus. No, I'm sorry, ex-wife number 1. They do kind of blend together in a way, although much different, especially in physical appearance, those two. But however, yeah, she used her. She got a Christmas bonus on her job one year, and over my protestations to the contrary, bought a Sony Vega. One of those, dude, those things weigh 500 fucking pounds, man. If the actual, like the last version they made before they went full LCD, when they were still trying to do these CRTs, thing had to weigh 250 pounds. Not kidding. That was a nightmare. But she was very strong-willed and tended not to listen to me in that regard. Certainly, she was quite the little consumer. But yeah, I want to watch that video. But yeah, not even a cop. That's the best part of that entire video, Fire Drake. But in Oklahoma City, that slave hole, shithole, what a shithole Oklahoma City is. It's such a grapes of wrath, fucking old school environment. I'm sure the local cops have no problem with that guy cuffing up the local riffraff until the cops can show up and take him off to jail. But that guy probably has whatever the highest level of certification one can have without actually. He might be certified as a cop, but he's working as a security guard. Whether he's moonlighting or what, I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure he's never worked as a police officer. I've got a pretty good sense about these things. Yeah, that's interesting. Musical's a Secret says on Paul's channel, YouTube switches it back to no notifications. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing that can happen. So, we know they're playing games. To be sure. But let me go ahead and cruise over to, hang on. Let me cruise over here to my channel and let's watch one of my videos while we watch my live stream. Yeah. So this is just, I was going through my phone. I have 2 phones and I've switched, my primary phone. Basically, I swapped my backup and my primary phone because my backup is a newer phone and got the Android 13 update. This fucking bozo, man. Yeah, not a police officer. I know he looks like one, but he's not. That's a interesting dynamic. Just that part of it, right? All right, let's go. Do you know that I'm not breaking the law?
We're asking you to leave, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to leave. What do you think I'm doing? But here's the thing is when somebody's leaving, well, and then see, and I want to jump in real quick, the authoritarian mindset at work here. See, it's not enough that I am heeding what he's telling me to do, and I am going to do what he's telling me to do. I know the legalities of being asked to leave and then not leaving, right? Everything I'm doing here is based on a strategy. Meanwhile, what I was doing right before I started recording is I was up early, as I typically am, but I had to wait, for my clock to restart, my 10-hour break. So I'm doing my laundry in the TA there, and I'm out and about. I'm taking care of my business as a long haul truck driver, living in a truck. I'm not living this lifestyle at present, but I was in the past, right? So what happens is there's so many homeless people in this area, and it can be difficult to tell the difference between a homeless person and a long haul truck driver. And me being a thinner person, probably got misconstrued as a thin white guy with some energy, right? And some, a little bit of pep in his step. So somebody just took umbrage with the way I was expressing in the physical space and called this guy, or went in the store and said, hey, there's some homeless guy doing God knows what outside. Meanwhile, I was using their spigots at the diesel pumps. I was using the spigots at the diesel pumps to rinse out some of my jugs and pouring out water. That was the activity I was doing. And then the guy wants to come up, and what's not pictured is he wants to come up and say, like, what are you doing? It's like, well, what do you mean? What am I doing? It's pretty fucking obvious what I'm doing. But so, yeah, I was a dick to him. Sure, I was. Like, meanwhile, he's working as a security guard. Like, do I have to kiss his ass? Also, he can see I'm not breaking the law. I'm not causing a problem. I'm most likely an actual customer of the truck stop. But I understand homeless people. This is a high homeless area. Homeless people wander through that property all the fucking time. And the reality is, Oklahoma City, to its credit, is not going to let homeless people take over, as homeless people have seemingly done in many areas. So, yeah, I would rather things be as bad as this is. I would rather they be on top of it with respect to not letting the riffraff take over. But then, this is a correction in the other direction. He should be able to realize, oh, this is, while he may be homeless adjacent, he probably is a truck driver. He probably is just, even though it seems bizarre to us, this is just how he lives and conducts his affairs. Maybe just leave him alone. So I was in the process of walking off of their property, but he's got to follow me and almost escort me off the property, right? While I'm in the process of leaving. This is the authoritarianism. Or he could just take me at my word that, okay, sir, I'm doing as you've requested, like doing that now, right? And then there is something in me, as far as, rejecting authority, or, whatever opposition I may naturally want to put up to authority, where it's like, okay, now that he's here trying to forcefully move me along, well, I'm just going to give it right back to him on some level. Yeah, long haul truckers are homeless. Well, or they may as well be. And I'm glad Big L has a nice condo, apparently, but, and it's nice to be able to go to one's refuge, but hell, he's hardly ever there, right? So it never made sense to me to go into long haul truck driving and attempt to maintain a residence. It never made sense to me personally. But back to the clip.
Listen to me. You step back. When somebody's leaving and you follow them and tell them to, yes, sir.
I've been watching.
You are following me, man.
I've been watching.
Yeah, now he's like, oh, I've been watching you. Well, okay, I haven't been doing anything. Meanwhile, yeah, I understand he's a cop, but that's a tad creepy. But okay, yeah, what's that have to do with the fact that you're now following me around? Yes, perhaps you've observed me. Perhaps you have been granted the authority to make me leave the property. I'm willing to accept all of that. But see how he's unwilling to accept his part in it. Yeah, I am following you around. Okay, well, do you mind standing right there while I walk away? Because every time you try to follow me, sir, I'm probably going to stop and have something to say. And then how much of this is a dynamic, that he's, feeding into? And then how much of this is, whatever energies I'm working with, as a chronically ill person working 7 days a week and just on some level trying to keep his shit together. And that's not even talking about all the crazy shit we deal with as truck drivers. Big L calls me sometimes and tells me all about it. And I'm happy to listen because I understand where he's coming from. It's insane what he's doing for the amount of money they're paying him. And he makes a decent living, but it should be much more based on the aggravation he's dealing with and the danger, all of these factors.
You can watch whatever you want, buddy. You can watch. I'll walk whatever way I want to walk as I leave.
Well, and then here I am. And by the way, you know, this is on the heels of the fake pandemic. You know, and as a grown ass man, I got to be told how to walk and where to walk. I mean, what is this?
This property. You hear what I'm saying? I'm in the process of leaving.
No, you're gonna leave now. You're gonna walk this way.
You see him pull out the cuffs and make the noise, right? He ain't bluffing. This dude will fucking cuff me up if he decides to. That's the thing. That's what people may not realize is that, yeah, he's working as a security guard, but he will absolutely hook me up, call the actual popo who will happily throw me in the cruiser and take me off and book me. 100% solely based on this guy's say so. At 100%.
We're gonna have a problem really fast.
What problem?
This way.
Man, I don't know what you're talking about.
This way.
And you see old Benton, I'm doing just enough, you know. And, you know, on some level I am, sadly, probably this is some version of bootlicking to some extent. But remember, I have an 18-wheeler on the property, and, you know, I'm in the paid parkings. That's my ace in the hole is I have a fucking receipt that I paid money to in order to be there for 24 hours. So I actually have a contract with the TA, and then that's going to get brought up at the very end. And that's why the video ends, because I actually pull it up on my phone and show it to him. And I'm not giving him any information about who I am or what I'm doing until we at least I can see some ability on his part to be reasonable. In worst case scenario, I'll just leave the property and go hang out across the street at the other truck stop until it's enough time has passed that I can get in my rig and leave.
Right now.
This is crazy.
I bet it is.
This is crazy.
No, we're gonna walk this way.
Walk this way.
What way do you think I'm going?
Walk this way.
Man, what is going on
Walk
here?
this way.
Man, it's pouring out some water.
Walk this way.
In America.
Just give me some tyranny.
Getting harassed. No, I can't now because I didn't been harassed.
Okay.
For doing my job.
My name is Officer Muller.
Think about that, officer. For doing my job. Hey, listen, man, I'll never come back here. Okay, do you mind? I'm just asking you a question.
Never went back, by the way. And you know, it's a truck stop, but arguably it's probably things are better with Benton around spending money and, you know, maybe there to intervene in some dangerous situation potentially. But no, I never went back. I never will.
Do you mind if I wait till I'm legal to leave here and just leave? Is that okay with you? No, I'm going to physically leave. I want you to hear what I'm saying. I have a 18-wheeler. You hear me? I can't legally leave the property yet. Hang on, I'm not going to answer that. In the 18-wheeler, I'm just telling you what I'm going to do if it's okay with you. We can come to an agreement. I'm going to physically leave the property. When I know it's time that I can walk back and enter my truck, I will start the truck. This me and you, man to man. I will drive out of here and I will never, I repeat, never come back to this TA. I won't try to get you in trouble. I won't call TA. I won't do anything. No, I'm just telling you, man to man, this is what I'll do.
So let me ask you
no, but so we can't agree on that? But I'm trying to make an agreement. Are you counter offering? I'm not going to answer that. Okay. I'm saying, will you agree with me?
You see his complete and total unwillingness to do anything other than give me directives and behave as a tyrant. I did, in spite of himself, I feel like I managed to get him to some level of humanity and somewhat, you know, in a space of cooperation, even though he really did not verbalize it. I detected it, you know, in his body language and in his spirit. But you can hear he's the boss. He's in charge. I will do as I'm told from his perspective, or I will pay the penalty from his perspective.
So hold on. Here's the thing about it.
Why do you want to know?
If you have a truck on this property.
No, I do.
You have a truck on this property?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told you that initially.
So if you have a truck on this property,
yeah,
and you need to get in your truck, and you need to leave.
Well, here's the thing is, see, I've got a thing called paid parking. So I'm actually, no, don't start shaking your head. I made a contract with this place.
See, he's already trying to say, well, I don't give a shit if you're in the, see, he's already setting up for, well, that doesn't mean anything. I'll still kick you out of here, right? Well, and that's probably he would, and probably the local cops would come and get me. See, this is where we get with the legal system sometimes, is the reality is that my contract is still going to carry the day in the long run, but how much dealing with courts in a place I don't live, by the way, how many times do I want to go to court in Oklahoma? See, that's what I'm thinking, right? And these people will absolutely railroad me and screw me over, and nobody gives a fuck. And it's just, well, sorry about your luck, sir. But yeah, I'm certain at the end of the day I would prevail. But what do I win? What's my prize? Right, my prize is a whole bunch of aggravation, and I would view that as a Pyrrhic victory, sir.
I'm just being honest.
Okay,
No, wait a minute. Let me finish.
go ahead, I'm listening.
So I'm just trying to make an agreement with you, man to man.
Okay.
And I'm telling you that very shortly, I can just get in my truck and drive away. That's what I'm telling you. But I can't do that yet because of my car. That's all I'm saying. It's coming up very quick. And in fact, I got laundry in there that I need to get out of the dryer. I just want to do all this.
Well, and see, this bozo seems to think I'm going to get in my rig and just leave, even though I'm not legal to drive. Now, hypothetically, they have an allowance for this where if I'm just made to leave, right, there's something that can be done, you know, with the logs. But I would have to call the company and they would have to do it. You know, technically, it would be considered personal conveyance because this is like a safety official. The law is written, you know, the way this is all, you know, regulated. I believe that as written, it has something to do with if a safety official is more or less tells me I have to leave, then, you know, that falls under personal conveyance, right? There's nowhere to park, though. It's 2 in the fucking morning. All the truck stops are full. There's a reason I'm in the paid parking to start with. Like, you know, there's nowhere to go, man. I need to wait until my shift's over. My sleeping shift is over, and then I need to leave to start my shift. But he doesn't know or care. Imagine being a security guard at a truck stop and not even understanding that, hey, man, I can't just leave. I can't drive out of here in my truck right now. It's called electronic logs, you fucking bozo.
And go, man. I won't talk to nobody. I won't cause you no problem.
If you have laundry in this property,
Yes, sir.
get your laundry.
I want to get my laundry. I want to get in my truck.
See, this is him actually being reasonable at the end, in spite of. But you still hear he's still using the same type of directives. He's still using the same, you know, terminology and all this. But he's actually, you know, he's actually being somewhat reasonable towards the end. But in Nazi Germany, you see what I'm saying? It should never come to this. It should never come to this. In my
I want to go.
If you have a truck, now I'm going to tell you this now. Hold on.
I'm listening. I'm
All
listening.
right. If you do not have a truck on this property,
I do.
we're going to have a really serious problem.
Can I show? I just want to show you, if you don't mind.
Good.
Because look, man, I know you deal with all kind of crazy shit out here,
Yeah.
and I ain't trying to.
Well, and that is true. He does deal with all kind of crazy shit out there, but that he's choosing to do that. By the way, that's his choice, is to take money in exchange for dealing with all kind of. I promise you, he's dealing with just some insane shenanigans, because it's nothing but homeless people on foot in that area, and especially in the darkness, you know. And they all stream right through all of those areas right there. So I already know some level of what he's dealing with, and I do sympathize to some extent. That's the end of the video, though. But there's no reason, man. There's no reason. Oh yeah, well, he's dumb too, right? Musical's a secret, right? NJ Jeep Girl. And that's something I was pondering on this morning. Is like, look, way more than half of everybody out here, you know, on the streets, in the realm, you know, we can call them NPCs. I've said before, I don't get past the N and the P, meaning no personality. The fact that I've detected, oh, this is a being, arguably, with no personality. I don't even need to get to the non-player character part of it. The no personality is enough for me. But, and you know what? There's a personality in there somewhere. And you know, I understand we've all went through some craziness, you know, with the fake pandemic, but what I noticed is that society was already this way, you know, authoritarian and totalitarian in many ways, but the fake pandemic really exacerbated those dynamics, in my view. It weaponized a lot of these folks, like this guy. But yeah, way over half of everybody's just a complete dum-dum, brain dead dum-dum. There you go. Well stated. RT says, I surmise that the existence or absence of dreads on a security guard is a bellwether for them being either reasonable or unreasonable. Very nice. Very nice, sir. I like what you did there. And then, you know, whatever I'm dealing with my health, and I have this, I'm very rough with myself, and it works for me, right? But I'm putting all this pressure on myself to, you know, get to the library, you know, do whatever chores I need to do this morning. And you know, I wanted to do that 45 minutes I did this morning, mainly to test the equipment. And, you know, then realizing like, man, I don't know. Am I really just going to go to the library Monday through Friday, even if I feel like complete ass? And, you know, no, why? For what? I can sit here and just put my icon on and talk. And I guess the cam works, but once the network starts getting congested, that'll stop, right? But for now, the cam works. Yeah, they never planned on cell phone cameras. And I'm wondering if I might have had my body cam on, but I bet I forgot. I bet I left it in the truck. That's the thing with the body cam. It's hit or miss unless one just wears it 24/7, or at least keeps them, you know, realistically, I should just keep it in my pocket. But I'm assuming I did not have it on and to me, that's the nothing burger. Like I've just deleted videos. I had one way better than that I just deleted because it was kind of a nothing burger to me, especially as much as I've encountered the popo, as many popo encounters as I've had living in the streets for all those years. Yeah, abuse of power with that attitude. I find it very hard to even talk to them. Yeah, Gray Eagle. Shout out to Oklahoma, by the way. Gray Eagle checking in from Oklahoma. I'm presuming, unless you're out and about traveling the continent, as it were. But yeah, that's actually a very restrained Benton, because y'all know how I can be, man. That's just, yeah. Maybe I don't come across well. Maybe I do. It's hard for me to tell since that's me and since I'm in it, right? But that was a very much Benton holding himself back. But I did kind of give him the business a little bit when he first walked up. I did give him the business a tad, but that's fair play as far as I'm concerned. And there was a time when a man could just say some shit to another man, and now we're just going to work it out, right? I thought this kid was cutting in line in front of me at the grocery store, but actually I was just mistaken. And I thought I'd clarified the situation, and then it looked like he was actually cutting in line, and then I kind of shot my mouth off. But it was just one man talking to another man, right? Although he probably is not an actual man, younger fella. But and if I look bad temporarily, that's fine. No, by the way, we're all necessarily the center of our own universes. You know, if the people at the store happen to think, well, that was strange, that old man sure was cranky, it's like, well, they think about it for 3 or 4 minutes and then they go on with their day. Like, this is soon forgotten. Probably wouldn't be able to pick me out of a lineup as early as tomorrow, right? Yep. Oklahoma in the house. That's right. Peaceful non-compliance. Well, as I've said before, NJ Jeep Girl, if the day comes, and I'm starting to think maybe this is not going to happen, but if the day comes where, you know, the authorities set up a checkpoint in your town, you cannot there's no version of non-compliance that will deal with a checkpoint. That just means you don't go to the other side of town. So I do have to push back a little bit, but I understand what you're saying, and that the peaceful non-compliance certainly works as a strategy in some instances. And what I'm doing with that guy there, none of it is based on what I consider to be true and right. Now, it is based on my own personal code that I'm going to be very unwilling, or it's going to take a lot for me to go against what I consider to be my own, you know, masculine internal code that's unique to me, right? But beyond that, everything I'm doing is solely based on, I don't want to deal with this guy. I want to get this settled. I don't want to have to worry about him trying to sneak up on me when I'm sneaking back to my rig, because that's what I'm going to do if he's just completely unwilling to have a conversation with me. I'm just going to go across the street, and then I'm going to sneak back on the property and drive on out of here, right? Which I'm pretty sure I would have been able to pull off, but I'd rather just go back to my truck. Oh, and still would have had to sneak in and get my clothes that were in the dryer, right? Now, again, I'm capable of doing all this, but I would rather just, as much as I was not interested in having this interaction, I just want to get it over with so I can do my thing. And I am leaving and never coming back. That's a true statement. And some people say that, oh, I'm never coming back here again, and then here they are a week later. No, there's no reason for me to be at that particular TA. So I will never go back there. And maybe I'll be on a car trip one day, and I'll take that exit or something, and maybe I'll start to pull in, and then I'll remember, oh yeah, that's right, I don't go to this TA. You know, oh, this is a TA I don't go to. It's their loss ultimately, as far as I'm concerned. Thanks, R-Pole. Yeah, wake up, people, wake up. Yeah, YouTube's being weird here lately, R-Pole, especially today with the notifications and such. So, yeah, I do. Well, I somewhat remember that, NJ Jeep Girl. Since I was born into a time warp, I have very vague memories of that as a very young child. That was definitely going away by the time I was a little kid for sure. But yeah, I do remember that to some extent, if only from movies and such, right? Crumley read the mask mandate, came back to some college in Atlanta. Yeah, oh yeah. I keep my pulse on the news cycle, and every once in a while, the media tries to hype up a new variant of concern, and that has happened again recently. And I know city of Los Angeles, within the last month or so, was considering going back to a mask mandate. And I'm not at all surprised that a college in Atlanta would do that. Not surprised. In fact, what I would be surprised by is this idea that, oh, it's the administration and then the people don't want it. I bet you the students asked for that. I'm not even kidding. I bet if you read the article, now I could be wrong, but I bet you a majority of the students were in favor of it, because I'm convinced what we saw during the fake pandemic, what I estimate to be at least 65% of the general public is in favor of all the COVID measures and the fake pandemic measures. And I'm trying not to say the word, but they're all in favor of it. 65%. And that's why America's not supposed to be a democracy. And every time you hear these politicians say our democracy, it's not supposed to be a democracy. When it's a democracy, if 65% of everybody thinks that face masks and social distancing and not letting more than a certain amount of people in the store at a time and jabs and all of these things, if 65% believe that's all great, guess what? Everybody gets to live that. It's not supposed to be democracy. Never was. The fact the American people have accepted being told that, by the government, right? Just that fact alone is a problem. And I'm not picking on you, NJ Jeep Girl. That was not my intention. But this realm is so confusing and things are so topsy turvy and inverted that if I'm not very strict with how I'm interfacing with the concepts and how I'm, thinking about them, then I'm lost, right? But in many cases, I could not agree more. In many cases, it is the proper strategy. And in fact, I myself, although I did not do it in that case, generally when I'm approached by the actual cops, although not always, but generally I would just sit on the ground. I'd say, hey, if you don't mind, I'm just going to sit on the ground here. And it's sort of that's a version of peaceful noncompliance, arguably. I'm sort of taking the threat out of it to some extent. And then it is a very powerful psychological signal that I'm bowing down to their authority in some way, or what they believe to be their authority. And the cops, they love that. And they can't, most cops emotionally can't deal with having their authority, what they perceive to be their authority, questioned. And they have poor emotional control. Oh, and are the most violent group in society. Music Culture Secret had plans to visit his hometown, stay with his cousin. On my way home, he says, if you are not jabbed, you are not staying here. Exactly, bro. And how many of us have gone through versions of this? I was on, and I'm not going to one up your story. I have this tendency to try to one up people's stories, even though that's not my intention, but I'm sure that's how it comes across. So let me not do that. But let's stay with what Music Holds a Secret is talking about here. How many of us have gone through versions of that with our own families? Meanwhile, my youngest sister got double jabbed. I've got my own opinions. I'm not going to hold it against her. I forgave her and let it go, right? Why would I hold on to that? But see, my sister would also never, I'm presuming would never, try to tell me that I have to do the same thing, right? And by now, I bet my sister's smart enough, Leah, I'm sure she's smart enough to realize by now that she fell for the propaganda on some level. And I'm sure she realizes the harm and probably would actually tell people not to get it, I think. But the point being here is, and this is authoritarianism. Music Holds a Secret. This is authoritarianism. It's like, okay, if you want to come and participate in this family event, right? Because he wants to visit his hometown. And I don't know if there was an occasion, or I don't know the particulars, but probably some version of, even a de facto miniature family reunion, right? Who even knows? But then the imposition of these structures in an authoritarian and dictatorial way, when if she really had a concern, right? If she really had a concern, there are better ways to deal with this, right? Because Musical is a Secret, he's a reasonable person. And, he I can't speak for him, but I'm assuming that if she had broached the topic in a more loving, open, and accommodating way, why not accommodate that he may not view the situation like she does? But again, now we're back to the weaponized authoritarianism. These people, like your sister, Musical is a Secret, and I don't know what she's like. I don't know her, but these people have been weaponized to behave this way. And I'm not excusing her behavior because it's abhorrent behavior, and I'm against it. But the fact that the system for that period of time reinforced these things that were probably lying dormant within her, right? And weaponized them against sensitive individuals such as myself and perhaps Musical is a Secret, right? Who ultimately is just going to take his ball and go home, as I would do. Meanwhile, I'm pretty fucking awesome. I've known, metaversally known Musical is a Secret. He seems like an awesome person, right? It's not addition by subtraction. It's subtraction by subtraction, But then what if a few years go by and everybody comes to their senses? See, now I can say I don't hold a grudge, and that's true to some extent, but I'm not going to put myself out. Then it's going to be, hey, okay, it'd be great if y'all came and saw me. Because why would I go to my time? Why would I use my time and my resources and my money and my aggravation to go see y'all when I see y'all for what you are on some level? Yeah, y'all gonna have to come to me now. And those type of people, it's funny. I don't think it's a coincidence. Now, it is his hometown, and I guess she's still in the hometown, so it makes sense that he would go there, right? But we can only bend over backwards so much. And how much bending over backwards, have many of us done? And what has been our reward? What was the reward for bending over backwards? Did we gain anything? Did any benefits accrue, or were we further punished? See, were we further punished? And we already know. I'm just asking hypothetical stuff here, but looks like the chat's pretty lit here. So I'll let the chat take it away. Shout out to Terry Miller in the house, Crumley as well, Gary Baxter. Good to see everybody. Sterling Ray. So to me, it's not even the fact. I can understand. Okay, I can relate to them being brainwashed and fooled by the propaganda and the fear, and just, it was a very confusing, traumatic time. Yeah, that all plays a part. But then that also gives us as humans an opportunity to show our best selves, right, under pressure. And then some people, myself included at times, showed our worst, right? Yeah, there you go. That's funny. NJ Jeep Girl. Well, and that's the thing is, see, exactly. And see, this is what I was going to say. Musical is a Secret says I thought about getting a motel room, but abandoned the whole visit. Yeah, it's not a big deal as a single man. We're not picky. We can just get an affordable motel, and it's not a big deal if we're staying by ourselves. It's not. It can be very affordable depending on the area. And if she had a more accommodating attitude, and if she had broached the topic properly and had it, and if she was coming from a place of genuine concern, I'm certain they could have worked this out to where he could have visited, and they could have met each other as humans and as family members. But she's showing her unwillingness to do anything until he shows that he will 100% comply with and conform to what the system says people are supposed to do based on a fake pandemic. Not what actually makes sense, by the way. Of course not. That's neither here nor there. And that's skipping the actual arguments, which I've never had any of them, thank God. But I saw the folly in that immediately. But, not even debating the particulars of the thing, right? And well, actually, it doesn't do anything. And, it doesn't spread this way. It doesn't. The whole thing, man. There's no if she believes she had a legitimate concern, there's no reason y'all shouldn't have been able to get on the same page other than her authoritarianism. And Musical is a Secret, I'm assuming he's experienced enough authoritarianism in his life. He's probably not willing to sign up for more. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I suspect that to be the case, right? Meanwhile, part of me just letting it go, but that my sister got jabbed. Part of me just letting it go that I had family members trying to at least exploring the possibility of having my mother declared incompetent so they could do a power of attorney and have her put on a ventilator that would have absolutely killed her, by the way. I've let it go. I'm letting it go for them, y'all. I'm not letting it go for me. And now, of course, it is for me to some extent, but fucking A, man. Yeah, that's right. You know what they say about opinions, mine included, and I'm full of them. Now maybe they don't all stink. That's a bit of hyperbole. I'm thinking another 15 years, man, Terry Miller. I'm thinking economic crises on a 15-year cycle, or approximately the time it takes to educate one generation, and then same thing with fake pandemics and or climate lockdowns. Because if you think about it from the well, okay, I've thought about it, and from the perspective of the system, now I could be wrong, but it seems to me like there's really no need unless there is a need, right? So accepting any other specific need, it seems to me like the system would be content to wait approximately 15 years. And then now we have new humans that did not live through the first one. Okay. So now we need to get them up to speed. Meanwhile, the ones who were here for it, well, they're already trained up. So of course, yeah, some of them are going to grumble and gripe and complain, but they're more or less going to, snap to it and do as they're told, just like they did last time, myself included. Now, I understand most of us bucked the trend and we, we said no and we stood up. And I understand all of that in certain circumstances. And most of us, not all, but most of us also acquiesced and did things we didn't want to do. Most of us. Myself included. And so part of that is I'm now lesser on some level than what I otherwise would have been. I actually diminished myself. I consented to my own diminishment as a being, right? A little part of me died, and that's not, I understand that sounds some type of way, that structure of language, but that's true. That's a true statement, right? Part of me didn't make it through this pandemic. Part of me it's just gone, never to return. What's up, Bradley Boss Bell? How are you? Interesting picture there. PFP, whatever we're calling it. Avatar. User image. Christos. I must be doing something right. Good to see you, Christos. I cruised by that. What is that? That name, that channel seems like an interesting channel, Christos. It's a little hard to remember the name of that, but I am subscribed, so let me. I think maybe she listens at times. I got that impression. I wasn't completely sure, but possible, I suppose. Certainly would not assume that. Yes, Pythagorasaurus Bex, who is live right now, by the way. Although I think they like to play music over there, which is wonderful. I used to play music over here. But now that I've decided to embrace the capitalism, now no more copyrighted music. But yeah, here's the channel. Let me drop the link here. And Christos has excellent taste. So the Christos seal of approval certainly helps. And yeah, I understand it's a vibing high atmosphere at times, but hey, so is this. We do the high vibing from time to time. So, I can't be hating. I just don't like it when it's excessive. And again, that's subjective, right? When I decide it's too much high vibing. Now I'm the authoritarian, and based on, to twist some of the writings of Thomas Merton, the famous Trappist monk, and I've read much of his writings. If I hate tyranny and I hate authoritarianism, that's fine, but I can only really hate it within myself because it's not going to do any good to hate it in other people, right? I can only really detest it within myself and then hopefully do something about it, meaning get rid of those authoritarian aspects of myself. And that's where, again, back to the highly suspect, Keith, he's been on the show a couple of times. He texted me this morning. I'm hoping by the weekend maybe we can get him to come back on the broadcast, and maybe y'all can help me control myself a little better than I did last time. But I'd like to work with him, and I did have some success with Kim. You know, I understand me and Kim don't get along. That's fine. So what? But I did have and to his credit, Kim took some of what I said to heart and acted on it. And I see that same potential, you know, within Highly Suspect. The guy's got a lot of. He's a very talented person with a lot of. He brings a lot to the table, right? But it's in there, you know. It's in there. It's especially he's just been around these brain dead dum dums too much, and we are the company we keep to some extent. Absolutely. You're welcome, Christos. Well, no, thank you, Christos, for having excellent taste. I myself also was blessed with excellent taste. So, yes, I get it, man. On the chilled, laid back, what did I call this? Yeah, the relaxed, chill, laid back Tuesday night stream. See how great of a stream it is when I take pressure off myself. I think most of the problem yesterday was I really didn't have nothing. Right. But I had all this pressure. I had nothing but pressure. It was nothing but Benton had no material and was putting pressure on himself. Now, today it's like no pressure and no real material, but then I am the content. I am the content I want to see in the meta, right? He's going, I'm about to go full Ricky Henderson, the greatest third person of all time, right? What's up, Sheila Carter on a rampage? Now, are these sock accounts, which is fine if they are these actually are some of the regular audience not getting the notifications, but then now I'm getting pushed out to you know, more of the YouTube audience at large, right? But I don't know who these people are. So that's another helpful you know, service that the live chat provides for free, by the way, is they will get to the bottom of these matters. There's really, what am I worried about? But anyway, good to see the new folks, if they are new folks. High pressure streaming. Yeah, sometimes that happens, Dick, and I feel a kidney stone passing through my is it ureter or my urethra or whatever we're calling that? I forget the name of that, whatever that tube is. Urethra. Yeah, very strange channels. I love. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things, Christos. The strange and the bizarre, right? Strange and the bizarre. And I had something Freedom Grower. I don't know if you caught the top of the broadcast, but instead of signing on with my normal Benton, you know, what's happening Benton here, I said, hello, lovely people. This is Sun Fruit Dan. And I thought about you when I did that. So no need to rewind. I just did it again. Hello, lovely people. This is Sun Fruit Dan. I love that sign on, dude. Yeah, I would be Terry Miller, except you know what? You're right. I would be if I did not have certain aspects of self that I'll never be able to overcome, that I don't want to overcome, right? Such as an inability to. Now, I am phony in my own way for my own purposes. I'm not saying I'm never phony, but my inability to be phony in order to perform and create content that I know the algorithm would love. Because at a certain point, Drew was just saying, oh, well, I could just do this and do that and do the other. And Drew was saying that Drew could do those things and then get views and make money. And I'm thinking, yeah, Drew, except you can't, because there's something about you that he's not able to fake it just for money. And I'm not either. But yeah, I agree, Terry Miller. And thank you. I will take that as a compliment. But it's not about that. But it is kind of about that, right? And it's a team effort here. This is not a solo sport, as we see. I've done it. I did an entire podcast series at one point. I think it was 13 episodes that I'm never going to publish, but that I did publish on a website that, as far as I know, nobody ever went to the website, you know, and there is the miracle. This is something of a minor miracle, whether I or you realize it or not, just the fact that there's 37 people listening to me speak live, and that this will most likely get somewhere around 450 views. And that's after YouTube, you know, just eats some of the views, right? You know, and the popularity of my Nightmare Dystopia podcast that was hosted, you know, in MP3 files hosted on my own website. It's a miracle to even get people to go to a website and listen to someone such as myself, or same thing on YouTube, right? Okay. It's all good, Sheila. I mean, that's what a fake account would say, but it's I'm not that paranoid, so you're welcome here either way. But I just want you to know that is there. We have a lot of sock accounts around these parts, so just so if you end up sticking around, and welcome by the way, if you choose to stick around, Sheila. Well, and I do if you are in fact a lady, I do tend to run almost all the women off, in a group at times. But then there's some that always come back. There's a few that just stay anyway. But just be aware of that dynamic. That's probably going to happen again at some point. But according to YouTube, we're I think we're averaging like 20% female audience, which as far as I know is pretty freaking good. So we'll take it. Shout out to Word Wizard in the chat, by the way. Heckle Bus. Never did get down. Oh, well, wait a minute. Don't you tell me what to do, Ms. Carter. Don't you tell me what to do. It's not paranoia if they really are after you, but yeah. Message received, ma'am. Message received. Yeah, 10 likes inbound. Indeed, Christos. I like that about you. Look at this. Heckle Bus. I have sock accounts. 10 likes coming. And thank you. I'm really not sure that helps, to be honest, but it helps me because now I get to feel better about myself. And I already feel pretty good about myself. Funny how that works, right? And I hesitate to say that I love you guys, but I do love you guys, at least on some level. Mark Jones, like button activated. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Appreciate y'all. And appreciate your comments, Sheila. In spite of what I may say up here as the person foolish enough to actually be conducting this broadcast. Yeah, appreciate you as well. What's happening, partner? Good to see you, Yeti Life. Perhaps we can enunciate. It's good to feel good. That's right, man. And I kind of want to play some of Yurt's broadcasts, but I may not. But Yurt definitely provides a lot of great counterpoints to some of my doomer material. And it is a paradox, right? I think that's where we left his broadcast, was more or less we both were simultaneously thinking this is a paradox, right? Which it is. It is a paradox because my life doesn't suck at all. So I understand why people can listen to me, give these critiques and these discourses and just assume that no, my life's great for the most part. Now I am obviously, having these health issues, and my life has a lot of struggle. Guess what? So does everybody's. I'm some unique I'm some unique fucking flower or whatever we're calling it. Yeah, I'm a unique snowflake, although that term has now been bastardized. But sure, I'm a unique creature in the manifestations of my struggle, perhaps. But I'm not struggling. We're all struggling to some extent, as far as I can tell, right? More or less. So yeah, I just don't feel good much of the day, and that some days it's not that big of a thing, and other days it is a big thing. And today is one of the days, and yesterday was one of the days. But yesterday I just decided that this isn't a factor, but it is a factor, meaning the physicality. So today I put my big boy pants on, and I realized, what, I need to just stay where I'm at, stay at the fucking clubhouse, and I'll either be able to do a broadcast or I won't, right? And then I'll just go live, and it'll be 10 people or it'll be 36, It's great. I love it, man. I enjoy doing this. I plan to keep doing it. Still interested in seeing how my living situation resolves. I'm here through the 28th at the motel, and then most likely I already have the money, but most likely I'm paying another $800, which some people don't understand is a screaming deal to just be able to stay in a room, no strings attached. I'm not responsible for anything other than the $800. I mean, it's very much a great deal in this day and age, especially. It's one of the advantages of this area, is one of the most affordable areas of the country, Fort Smith, Arkansas. And it's very near to an area called, Fayetteville, Bentonville, Springdale, Rogers, not very near, but it's like 60 miles. That has a lot of good paying jobs and such. A hopping job market. So there's other things in the area, certainly. But yeah, man, it's funny because I use, I speak on the doom so much, and I have to. I can't I realized I have to face things as they at least seem to be, or I will just lose my sanity. And I've been out there in the streets, y'all, and thank God I never lost my sanity. But I've been probably been fairly close at times, and I'm not trying to live in that space. And maybe says something about my defects or something I may be lacking in. But you know, to be effective in facing reality and maintaining my mental health, which is my job and nobody else's, by the way. And I'll do everything in my power to avoid going into the mental health system, the medical system, and being medicated and diagnosed. And then, it's all based on medical coding and billing, right? That's at the end of the day, it's not based on treating me as a human. It's based on who can we bill for what through medical documentation and coding. And then have that stand up, because at some point, there's fraud involved, and they caught this doctor at the main hospital in Fayetteville, I believe. I think it was the main hospital in the system up there in Northwest Arkansas. They had expanded their mental health beds, and so people were coming in there, on a 5150 or whatever, and so he was just filling up the beds as much as possible and keeping people against their will. But since he's the doctor, he can say, well, they're not ready to be released yet. And he was doing this to like educated professionals, like white collar educated professionals who just, had some kind of issue one weekend and ended up, on a psych hold. It happens, it doesn't happen to Benton, but it happens. And then he's not letting them go because he knows that if he wants to serve the corporation as effectively, and he wants to be the administrator, probably he's trying to rise to the level of administrator of a series of hospitals and make millions of dollars a year, or maybe even eventually be the CEO of one of these companies that manages these hospitals. So he knows, hey, here's one way to make the hospital more profitable. We're going to expand the fucking mental health beds, and then, well, I got to keep them full. Got to feed the beast, right? Got to feed the monster. Yeah, that's how that goes. What's up, Paul? Good to see you, brother. Thanks, man. Yep. Shout out to Benton as well as the Metaversal Miscreants. And I want to say this, Paul, if you're still here, because I said this on the morning broadcast, but that's more of a just for fans only in a way. We typically only capture the more hardcore, long-term Bentonites, if I could say that, if I could be so bold. But I complimented you, sir, because I don't believe Paul provides. He's a this is me speaking for me, by the way. I see a lot of what Paul does and a lot of the way he comes across and interacts with people. It is, a regular source of inspiration to me. Right. And I think a lot of that goes unnoticed and it's not recognized. Right. And I think it's important. And, I am rethinking because I know that Paul, I can detect based on my own, only speaking for me, it seems to me that Paul is definitely a little bit miffed about just how this channel has taken such a liking to Illumitami, right? And that is a balance. And I would say arguably, I feel like I started out balancing that pretty well. But then as the Paul Tommy dynamics shift, I'm starting to feel like I've entered a space where now I'm not balancing it out properly, especially if I'm not ever, I don't like being put in a position to choose, right? But ultimately, it will come down to that. It's not, clearly I understand I'm not going to be able to just forever, be involved with these two very strong personalities that are, generally in opposition, although not always, right? As we see, sometimes they are in fact not in opposition, but and that's where, and Paul's seems to be patient in this regard, and I appreciate it. But thank you, sir. Thank you. Much appreciated. Always good to see you swinging through. Most definitely. And apologies for abandoning the broadcast yesterday, but anytime I see an opportunity to go take care of my business, I tend to just the old cliche of it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. It's just like I saw a chance, so I took it. But fair game too. Part of that is I may come back and it's just, thankfully Monel was reading something. Otherwise, it would have just been nobody on the screen, or you see what I'm saying? Like I was taking all the risks, so I can't come back and then say, hey, where did everybody go? It's like, well, no, you left first, bozo. Why would they stay if you left? You meaning me, rather. Right? It's a coyote and roadrunner dynamic. Yeah, there's something to that, Thunder Chicken, and I enjoy it. But I am. I do pay attention, and I listen. And when somebody, I can pick up on subtle messages here and there, but then maybe I am reading too much into things at times. Both can be true, right? But I wanted to say that to Paul, and when I'm feeling a little better and I feel like I can maintain my energy levels, I'm planning on making some appearances on Paul's show from the library. He's been going a little later lately, though. I may have to. Dude, in the long run, I've got to get on solid internet. This is just it's really a priority. It needs to be the number one priority. I have to make it the number one priority. Even if I end up staying here and paying $800 a month, I'm gonna have to have. They're gonna have to run me an internet line. They're just gonna have to. Yeah. Yeah. Stay free, and keep your powder dry. Yeah, mine's still dry. I checked on it recently. Yep. Yeah, educating the miscreants. Well, I am one of the miscreants, lest we forget. I can fall into that miscreant category very quickly. That's some people are always miscreants, and then some of us are mostly not, but we do definitely gleefully embody that at times, myself included. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, I'm talking about exactly. Thank you, NJ Jeep Girl. I do a lot of that, by the way. I don't think people notice some. Yeah, I was just talking to myself the whole time. It's like y'all aren't even here for that in my mind. It's just Benton talking to Benton. Yeah, very true, NJ Jeep Girl. That's my filler material. When I need to fill time, I just talk to myself about myself. What an absurd existence on many levels. Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated. And I hope you took those compliments, and I do mean that. And that's my reminder to verbalize that on occasion without it becoming excessive or, seeming like I'm kissing up. Because I do brown nose and kiss up, just not in that way, right? I do it in other ways. But yeah, I know it goes unnoticed much of the time, and certainly underappreciated. That Paul does provide, in my view, a lot of what I would term to be inspiration. Even as I do subscribe to the David Goggins notion of motivation is crap. That's true also on a certain level, because if I'm dependent on motivation outside of myself, what am I going to do when at some point that motivation is not there to spur me on, right? But again, now we're back to dichotomies and paradoxes and such. Yeah, sometimes myself is the only one that makes sense. Well, and then, how often, at some point during the broadcast, I'm just like, am I even making sense? Especially when I'm giving a discourse and then maybe somebody joins the panel. It's like, am I making sense? I don't know. Does this make sense? Sheila, yeah, actually don't behave. It's more interesting when you don't, but yeah, I think I know what you mean there. I'm being overly literal, as is my custom. 41 in the house. I guess I got to leave the cam on for now, since the internet seems to be tolerating it, and we are in some sort of I refer to as the disability cycle of misery, because at certain points of the month the motel is full, and the Wi-Fi is very much clogged most of the day, and effectively unusable for swaths of time. And then the cell networks here are not very good, highly congested in the daytime, and people here tend to mostly keep the same schedule. So if this was soundproof and I could just be up all night, it'd be completely different. I could just do the broadcasts in the early AM hours, as I would probably prefer, actually, me personally, but sleep in the daytime. I am able to do that. Shout out to long haul truck driving. If one ever wants to level up their ability to get proper sleep in all sorts of different situations. And I know I'm just rambling now. So I remember this happened one time. I was so exhausted But I don't drive drowsy, or I have to be alert to drive. But I was so tired. I parked the rig, fucking shut the curtains, laid down, and slept the entire 10-hour break. I woke up because I don't set an alarm or do any of that unless I absolutely have to. Because then I'll wake up like an hour before the alarm, and now I'm just up because I can't go back to sleep because I'm just thinking about the alarm, right? So I typically don't set an alarm unless I have to. Woke up exactly 10 hours. It's like my body knew, okay, buddy, we got 10 hours to sleep, and then I had to get up at 10 hours and keep driving to make the delivery on time. And somehow my body knew that and just like, all right, we're shutting off. And then I came back online 10 hours later. It was amazing. Yeah, the dichotomy of a cynical mind. And anyway, I can't convince anyone of anything, but my life's good. I have a great time. I enjoy my life thoroughly, and I am my favorite person to some extent. And yeah, I have struggles and strife, and I got stuff I'm dealing with. So what? Big deal. So does pretty much everybody else. No, there's not in J Jeep Girl. There's not. There's no bathroom. There's no room for a bathroom facility in a sleeper. In a sleeper, there's just nowhere to. There's just physically nowhere to have one. So, well, unless one were to rip out the passenger seat and put it there, which could be done, right? But accepting that, there's literally nowhere to put the thing, and certainly can't have it up high where it could fall. That's not an option. So, yeah. Oh, am I being taken to task again? Anyway, I do like the on a rampage, I must say. I am a fan of the rampaging aspects of the what we have referred to as the fairer of the species. The beautiful disasters out here, right? I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. Thank God it's a chill and laid back, relaxed stream. Certainly never get away with such foolishness otherwise. Yeah. Mark Jones spent over 50 years working and partying. Now I'm trapped in the system. Yeah. That and to Yurt's point, if one decides to go out here and have a great time and enjoy their life, I mean, as far as I can tell, nobody can really stop them, can they? I mean, nobody stopped me when I was having a great time all those years. And God forbid somebody had pulled me to the side and said, well, it's a nightmare dystopia, right? Well, that wasn't my reality at the time. Now, I would contend that it was then a nightmare dystopia as it is now. Okay. And then we get into the subjectivity, and then we get into the observer effect, and then, how much am I, then we get into the law of attraction and manifestation. How much of this am I creating for myself on some level? And how much of this is there built in, to the dystopia itself, right? So I'm not here to rain on Yurt's parade, but I'm also not here to have Yurt, pull me out of what I know to be true and real. The balance, again, now what are we back to? We're back to the middle way or the Tao. Fascinating how topics that Mr. Unslaved speaks on from time to time. Funny how that ends up being relevant and apropos. Interesting. It's almost like the man has some things figured out, right? What is this channel? That's a good question, Bradley. I will try to explain it if you'd like. I am I'm a person prone to explaining, and I certainly would like for you to stick around if you're so inclined, right? Are you familiar with the so-called truth community? It came out of this idea of a 9/11 truth, and this is more or less conspiracy theorists et al. Right? You can pretty much basically conspiracy theorists lumped into a group that is generally called the truth community, but I started referring to it when I first encountered it over 3 years ago. I'm a critic by nature, so I began referring to it as the so-called truth community, and even at times the you can't handle the truth community, because I was realizing that, okay, according to the truth community, that this realm is inverted, And I believe, by the way, I believe this is literally a realm of hell. By the way, just for the record, I know that to be true, at least on some level. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the totality of what's happening here either. Perhaps it is functions as paradise for some beings. Well, I'm ultimately operating from my own perspective, almost exclusively to some extent, with some, deductive reasoning and playing some educated guesses here and there. And as Paul Enslaved might say, and I don't know if you're familiar with that channel, yeah, post conspiracy would be the best way to put it. Yes, thank you, Roy. And I do tend to, simple and concise explanation is not necessarily my forte. So sometimes I take many, many, many words to describe something that Roy was able to say much simpler. So here's an example of post conspiracy. All politics is fake. Like, now, is Donald Trump a real human being? Well, perhaps, but he's not what he purports to be. Nor is Joe Biden. Politics is literally a dog and pony show. Not hyperbole. I'm saying that it's for show. It's not real on any level. There's nothing authentic or real about politics as presented to us here in the United States. Does not exist. Your vote means nothing. Republicans and Democrats have never done one thing to help the masses of people. So I would have to be insane to expect them to do anything that will help the masses of people. You cannot tell me one thing that has ever been done by Republicans and Democrats to help the masses. And if you start naming things, I probably know about them, and I will happily tell you, well, in fact, that served the corporate structure. And I can prove based on this metric that actually the masses suffered as a result of these policies instituted by the system itself. What we refer to here, by the way, as Benito Mussolini's helicopter hand. If you've ever seen the movie Network that came out in 1976, the boardroom scene between Ned Beatty and the guy playing Howard Beale. And again, that came out in 1976, and you see that the people still really haven't figured this out. But the way the corporate structure was described in that movie, I think, is literally true. There's no difference between Walmart and the federal government. They're the same thing. Walmart is the federal government. The federal government is Walmart. It's Benito Mussolini corporate fascism, and I'm talking about the actual writings translated into English that were attributed to Benito Mussolini, the fascist dictator of Italy. Right? I'm talking about if one is so inclined, go read that stuff. That's what we have in America today, as far as I'm concerned. So all politicians at every level are trash. They have no choice but to serve the corporate structure, because the corporate structure itself owns, operates, and is the possessor of each, administration slot. Essentially, that's what politics is. But again, it's a show put on so that the people can believe that things are being, that they have some say in how things turn out, when in reality it's not the case. And in fact, it's my contention that based on something like 26 or more states of emergency, declared states of emergency, don't take my word for this. Happily, you can go on Wikipedia and just type in state of emergency. And in fact, the country is still under 2 declared states of emergency from 2001, the so-called terrorist attacks of September 11th of 2001. And no matter who the president is, no matter which gang that particular president is affiliated with, whether it be Trump, Biden, Bush, whoever it is, they always sign on the dotted line and extend those 2 states of emergency, and which I contend means that there is no constitution. The constitution is not in effect, but the system wants you to believe that you have a freedom of speech. So it's willing to at least pretend like you have a freedom of speech, when in fact you have no rights, according to this system. And in fact, the distillation of Mussolini's writings on fascism is everything is the state, including you. You are the property of the state from the state's perspective. From the perspective of the state, literally everything is the state. So, and that's more of my personal views than the views of the community, that part of it. But yeah, post-conspiracy. Definitely. But we have a lot of lore. There's a lot of different channels, and Paul Enslaved himself is probably the biggest. One of the biggest, I should say. He's not the biggest necessarily, but he's one of the biggest content creators in the space. And I don't think he considers himself a truther as far as he's definitely not into conspiracies. I identify as a conspiracy theorist. I love conspiracies. Most of us here have been down all of the various conspiracy rabbit holes. So if you like being around those type of folks, then you've probably found your home. But if not, you're free to come and go as you choose. We do open panels at times. We do closed panels at times. I'll drop the StreamYard link. You can come up here and have a conversation with me at times if you're so inclined. I do my best to operate the channel on an ad hoc grassroots basis, meaning get in where you fit in, which is a positive affirmation on some level. It's not an order; it's a call to action if one is so inclined. I like the collaborative aspects of the creative process where people can sort of pick and choose how they can most effectively, add to the content and be the content they want to see in the meta. And I would say that they are actually, each individual is in fact, if they're able to tune into their own abilities and read the room, so to speak, that they are in fact the most qualified person to actually manage that process, not me. So I'm actually I skew a little more lefty, although I reject the left-right paradigm generally speaking, but I do use it within its own parameters, right? Because it is a thing that exists within the minds of the populace. So it is a thing to some extent. And we have a lot of people who believe themselves, whether rightly or wrongly, to be traditional family values conservatives. I'm not. That's not me. I definitely align more with the so-called liberal, and as I've said before, there's nothing wrong with actual liberals. What we call liberals nowadays is actually leftist communists. And if that man hasn't run for the hills yet, I want to leave him with this if he's still here. It's my contention that America has become communist, that America is 100% a communist country, but it's covert. It's not in your face Soviet style or Chinese style communism. It's a lurking just below the surface covert communism, but it's there nonetheless. And I'll pause long enough to see if folks are still around and if there's any pushback to and I do like to push people's buttons with respect to, because so many folks still buy into the system, as presented to some extent or another. All right. He's still here. Good deal. Awesome. And dude, we had what I could tell to be actual Satanists in the channel the other day. I'm not the idea police, but at the same time, I had to keep the channel from becoming the gay hookup at a certain point. And then it almost became like the let's debate Jesus and Christianity channel. So I had to put the kibosh on that. So it's certainly not going to become the fucking let's talk about the occult channel either. But we will definitely touch on those various topics at times. We're just not going to immerse ourselves in them necessarily. So, and that's part of the fun for me is I don't really know ahead of time, what direction the broadcast is going to take. And I don't necessarily know, who's actually going to be interacting with the material, right? That's part of the fun for me. I do embrace spontaneity. I reject spontaneity on the behalf of others. I embrace my own spontaneity, right? Again, now we're back to the paradox in the dichotomies. Well, Mark, and I will challenge you on that basis. He says we must shake fear into those who think they own us. Dude, can a reptile experience fear other than just an actual, I guess the reptile lizard brain, it can detect a signal of like, hey, it's time to, fight or flight or whatever, or freeze. But does the reptile brain experience fear? Do criminal psychopaths that are managing this evil, wicked, literal hell realm, as far as I'm concerned, the people that have risen to the top of that meritocracy with respect to serving what I view to be pure evil. Now, we can call that a discrete being and give it a name such as Satan. That's fine. But, at the end of the day, we're using words in the English language and using, those words to describe various, ethereal concepts, right? So we're already far off track as far as I'm concerned. But I do have to push back a little bit because I think we make a mistake if we're good, kind-hearted people on some level, I think it's our natural inclination is to project those aspects of our humanity onto the so-called controllers, when in reality, how can we watch the cremation of care from Bohemian Grove, and whether or not that's true or not, they want you to know about that on some level. And I'm not one of these they have to tell you people, but although I am in a certain context, but I'm not that way across the board. And again, more paradox, but more seeming contradiction. But yeah, it's a mistake in my view to project those aspects of humanity onto criminal psychopaths who, if they weren't blessed enough from their own perspectives to be born psychopaths, then they had to make themselves into psychopaths in order to literally to rise to their position. So their own integrity and humanity will actually limit them in their rise to the top, so that the ones who have risen to the top of that structure of administration in this beast system, in fact, I would contend that's based on their ability to overcome and sublimate and subjugate rather their own humanity, and almost in spite of themselves, such that there's really nothing to put fear into. Whatever may have once been there that you could put fear into, it's not there anymore. It's been killed through the cremation of care. So what you're talking about, Mark, these people do rituals to kill that part of themselves, supposedly. I mean, according to the official fiction, right? And then we haven't even talked about the now the baby, the normie is now a baby truther, especially the people who think that they're MAGA, the people who think that American exceptionalism ever existed, when in fact, American exceptionalism, mom and apple pie, and MAGA, that's all programming just like the rest of it. And that the masses are brainwashed dum-dums. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that, although I probably have other things to say. Awesome, Mark. I'm glad you followed along. And a lot of this is just it's conversations I've necessarily had to have with myself over time. So, if it helps, it helps. If not, whatever. Thanks, Bradley. Finds it interesting. Indeed, sir. And I would like to think that is one of my limited skills. I have a limited bag of tricks to pull from, and I will click the button, and typically I will click the button to go live and typically be interesting on command, although not always, as we might have seen yesterday. But yeah, typically I will do that. Yeah, all kind of rituals, right? All kind of rituals. Bradley Bell, Triple B in the house. Yeah, well, you're right. NJ Jeep Girl's right. I am a corporate. Whether I want it. See, here's the thing: is I don't want to view myself. My perspective would be to do everything I do on a daily basis, but to ignore the reality that I'm behaving as a corporate slave in this system. I'm doing that. Now, I don't view myself that way, and I understand the dynamics that I am working within certain structures for my own purposes. Like, yeah, I have enough, I'm savvy enough and I have enough ability for abstract thought that I can work within those mechanisms. But on some level, NJ Jeep Girl is 100% right. And as much as I might, push back on certain people's ideas, or not on certain people's ideas, as much as I might push back on certain ideas, well, then NJ Jeep Girl will push back on some of my ideas. And I think that's what we're starting to see with the Yurt Benton back and forth dynamic is it's point counterpoint, and we're kind of both right in a way. But then we also agree, even though it seems paradoxical that Benton is agreeing with this thing when he actually stated something seemingly the opposite within a different context, right? And that's back to the one of my favorite books, The First and the Last Freedom by Jiddu Krishnamurti, and we've read portions of that on the broadcast. I may get back to that reading at some point. And I really believe that a lot of the things he's spoken on is ways that a person can more effectively deal with these dynamics within one's own consciousness, their awareness, and within their own logical mind, being able to resolve these various aspects, even though some of it, can't be necessarily be fully resolved, although, well, until it is, right? But she said, yeah, they actually do own us in reality unless you correct your status. And I've been intending to do that, and I'm procrastinating. So that's something Benton is failing at currently. But that ain't the end of the story. But yeah, they actually do own us in reality unless you correct your status, and even that you still have to stand on because they're minions. And absolutely, and it's my view of that. Correcting one's status and presenting a certain way and acting on our own knowing, as Paul might put it. And then, Paul's famous video of that, traffic stop. Yeah, 100%. That's, and until one is there, they're not there. See that? And I think, I can't speak for Paul, but I suspect that some of the frustration that's detectable within Paul at times is that, if I'm willing to accept that he is living on that level, and then most of the people he's interacting with are not on that level. I mean, let's just be real about it. Some are to some extent, right? But the reality is very few of the people in these communities, myself included, are embodying those concepts fully. So of course he's frustrated. Or well, I shouldn't say that. If at times he seems to be frustrated, because I can't speak for the man, but that's just my own thought process and my own reconciliation of that, because I'm putting myself in his shoes to some extent, saying, well, yeah, I would imagine if I was operating the way he seems to be operating, and then these are the people that I'm tasked to spend my time with, of course that would possibly cause me to maybe become frustrated from time to time. And he may say, well, I don't ever become frustrated. And that, okay, I don't have any way of knowing that. But it's an interesting thought experiment or thought exercise. Either way, let's promote Yurt's channel since we've got some new folks in the house. There's a lot of channels that we can turn you on to, new folks. And I'm glad y'all are here. If you're still around, it's my job to keep you here, right? There's a little bit of pressure there. It's my job to keep you here, but there's a lot of interesting channels, and I enjoy promoting other people's channels. So I don't know if OTW News is live yet, but we'll start with him, and he's may very well be live. No, not live today, but oftentimes Mr. OTW News is live at this time. So let's share this tab, and you can check out his channel. It's at OTW News 333, I believe. Yes, and some of these channels are shadow banned. So the quickest way to get to them would just be to type this at into the search, or of course hit the link I'm about to drop. Indeed, Mark. Me too, by the way. And I can come on here and talk as if I have some level of mastery, because I do have some level of mastery. But guess what? There's levels to this, Mark Jones, and there's many more levels of mastery that I have not yet unlocked. So that's the big part. It's a major part of what gets me out of bed every morning. I can assure you, I love this stuff. But yeah, here's a OTW News channel. New folks. That's one that does live streams several times a week. All right. We'll see you later, Bradley. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you come back. Feel free to drop me an email sometime. Subscribe if you're so interested. We like to have people. I like, speaking only for myself, I like open-minded, people who think for themselves, especially if we don't agree. Especially if we don't agree. As long as you're thinking for yourself and you can provide some sort of rationale. And I don't mean rationale that I say is rationale. I mean, as long as you can piece together some sort of coherent, narrative, representing an argument, I kind of almost prefer when we don't agree, in some ways at least. Well, there you go, Mark Jones. It's definitely a piece of the puzzle, sir. Knowledge. Indeed. Oh, I see Gary Baxter trying to keep sees Bradley heading for the exit and trying to pull him back in. Well done, sir. Why was Michelle Forrester killed off? And I'm way behind in the chat, so yep. Well, and Bradley, the status it's an interesting thing, and that's where the Paul enslaved universe comes in, if we could call it that, because they have a lot of material that can be around rights and freedoms and spiritual law, and then man's law and God's law and all of these various laws, common law. There's a lot of things, Bradley, that we just assume is written into law that is not, in fact, written into law anywhere, interestingly. Much of them having to do with getting into a car and then pressing on the accelerator and moving about the physical landscape, right? Many of the things that we may assume to just be, oh, well, this is just the way it is because it was written into law. No. That's not necessarily the case. Of course, trying to convince the jackbooted oppressor thugs that, well, in fact, there's no law with respect to this thing. Well, that's not something I would necessarily suggest that anybody engage in. But I'm more talking about the law as written and then in conjunction with God's law, if that's a thing, if one is willing to entertain such a notion. And I'm certainly not here to foist any of that upon anybody. Yeah, puff, puff, pass. Oh, we're about to hit the vape. We're about to hit the vape because I'm not ready to quit vaping yet, but in the very near future, I'm going to probably cut it off for actually probably for a significant portion of time, because as much as I say I can't truck drive, I know I can go back and drive a truck for a couple of months and at least save up some money. So we might be back to that soon, but I'm not capable of it in the long run. And I probably would not even attempt to live stream during all of that. Right. But it's interesting. Things are in flux. It's all happening. I guess he left, but that's okay. It's cool to see new people swinging through. As much as I enjoy the regular audience, it's also cool to see when just random people stumble in, and then maybe I am doing something right. Maybe YouTube's trying to get me to transition into maybe a little more mainstream presentment, which is probably not going to happen. Yeah, puff, puff, pass, indeed. But yeah, later, Bradley. Hope to see you again. You never know. Well, I guess I'll drop the link, and whoever comes up is probably going to have to monologue unless two of you come up and y'all can talk, because managing these energies that I'm working with, I feel like I need to pull back a little bit right now. So, although it's chill, it's a relaxed, laid back, chill stream. So I guess I could just sit here and just kind of veg out for a minute, right? Oh, let's play Chainsaw Roy Duggan. I forgot about that. Y'all didn't know about Chain. And I'm seeing this for the first time, by the way. Hopefully this is not I got a funny email. Yeah, I'm gonna have to respond to that later. That's pretty funny though. Hang on, let me find this video. Yeah, Chainsaw Roy Duggan. So I'm taking this on some measure of faith. I have not actually seen this, so who even knows how graphic this may be. What the fuck? Did I already download this? Huh. I think I already downloaded this and I just did not realize. That's interesting. Shout out to THCO. I had no memory of doing that. Went to download the file and it was like, do you want to replace it? Like, oh shit, I already downloaded this thing. Whoa. I don't know if we can show that, Roy. That's fucking wild. Bro. I don't even know, man. That's tough, dude. Roy, I might, as much as I like to think I'm tough, good God. All right, I'm going to have to wait a minute. Graphic chainsaw fucking wound. Yay or nay? I don't know, man. I'm not even squeamish. I'm good, man. I filled my brain with enough hardcore fucking images, right, over my time. But yeah, viewer discretion is advised. All right, we're going to show it, but hey, man, not for the squeamish. Not for the squeamish. Oh, wait a minute. That's the bozo from the TA. All right, hang on. Click the buttons. And as I've said before, at a certain point, it's just we're all watching an old man operate a computer. It's not that bad. Yeah, easy for you to say, Roy. Easy for you to say. Yeah, that's old Roy chainsawed himself. Chainsaw Roy Duggan. Dude, it's fucking gnarly. I couldn't tell. Did you get the bone? Yeah, NJ's like, no, no, no. Well, I hope you looked away. All right, who is this? What's up, fucknut?
No, it's luckily. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, this is Roy,
Hang
by
on,
the way.
I need to close my window. Sorry.
Just for the audience, this is Chainsaw Roy Duggan in the
There
flesh.
we go. I can hear you without the echo now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, luckily because of the way a chainsaw works,
Wow.
it kind of pluck the skin off the bone, if you know what I mean.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's chainsaws are designed to dig into wood as they cut, but because
and
my
kinda
flesh
pull,
is
right?
flexible, it pulled it up and away. So
woo.
yeah.
So it could have been much worse, I'm assuming.
Indeed. I missed the turpentine cures gayness stream yesterday as I was in a police cell.
Oh, you were
Again.
in. Oh, they had you in jail yesterday.
Yeah, they
Wow.
an unmarked car and a police bike swatted me. I was at work. I was in the truck and had a trailer with a wood chipper attached on it, and I just pulled over on a side street and then got swamped basically. The first thing they say to me is, the bloke said, "Step out," and he goes, "You're the guy who swallowed drugs last time you were arrested, aren't you?" Because I don't know whether you know, I got arrested for the I got arrested for the cultivation and possession, but I refused to do a drug swab at the time, and they were going to try and do me for that, but so I said I'd do a blood test later on, and then while I was in the police cell, I got some cannabis out of my shoe or out of my sock and ate it. So that would invalidate any blood test. So they were pissed off that they couldn't get me for that last time, and basically they've got me this time for that. Targeted SWAT basically, you know.
This is crazy, man.
I know. And not just that, but they published an article on the web stating that it was because the vehicle looked in bad condition and the trailer looked in bad condition. That's why they pulled me over, and they've seized the vehicle and the trailer for fitness inspection, so to speak. They're fucking cunts, man. This hell realm, Benton, you know, it could drive you mad. It could, you know, because if I to take on all the emotional shit that's come up with that, it's like, how can the inequity and do you know what I mean? It's a challenge to the soul sometimes.
Big time.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, easy for me to say, right? I'm not dealing with any of that, so I could only imagine.
Yeah.
So
you know, I have to put, you know, that's where your faith in the Most High and things like that comes into play, and that, you know, it must be happening for a reason.
Yeah. I sure hope so.
Sometimes that's difficult to see. You know, sometimes it's hard to see the logic in it all, but you know, it has to be there somewhere. Maybe he thinks I need that challenge in my life to, you know, up my game, learn the law, and you know.
Yeah, that part I relate to, because I myself have procrastinated on. There's a lot more I could be doing in my own life with respect to especially the legal side of things, that I've just been putting it off. You know,
Same here.
No good excuse, just putting it off.
Yeah. There
So
with you. You know, I did the same as you with the how to win jurisdictionary course.
Okay.
You know, to start of, well, about a year into lockdown, I bought the course, started
Oh,
it,
great.
and then just
Great.
fell away, you know. But
Yeah.
I will be purchasing it again and getting right into it now over the next few months.
Yeah, and I, based on nothing other than what I know of you and my own intuition, I feel like you're going to prevail in the end with the the main thing they're coming after you on. It seems that way, but easy for me to say again.
Yeah, there's been a Supreme Court case in the East Caribbean where a cultivator, who got, I think he was a Rasta, but he got prosecuted, but he successfully sued the chief of police under the Human Rights Act.
Well, and the personal liability, I think, can be a good way to go after some of these folks, because here in the U.S.,
it's the only way. That's the only way they're gonna, be held to account, because, just the lies that I could state, both things have come from, or have been initiated by a policeman smelling cannabis as my vehicle drove past.
Yes.
Which is completely bullshit.
No,
if you're driving, so even if you're Cheech and Chong, if you're driving 30 mile an hour,
Yeah. Well, and that's proof of nothing. It's proof of nothing.
And it comes down to, is it what's that guy there? Got the book here. Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky, yeah. Yeah. He talks about means to the end and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah, and good on you. The means
justify the ends, and
good on you for reading that, because that's what I was talking about earlier. That as far as I'm concerned, America, speaking only for America, it's a de facto, covert communist country now. And a lot of folks, that happens because people don't realize that Saul Alinsky wrote these things, and then people have been acting on his writings, since he wrote them, and probably before he wrote them. And that the enemy, if we can view communists as the enemy, they really are doing all these things, and it's really working, Roy.
Yeah,
it's really
I agree.
Working. Yeah,
I agree. And who was it? Is it Yuri Bezmenov, the Russian KGB for that 80s sort of stuff?
Yes, sir.
If you watch him, what he's saying, it's just literally what is happening.
Right, 100% on the money. Yeah, and then so for my challenge to the people who think they're, MAGA type, traditional family values.
Politics will solve things.
Well, but if I could meet them where they live a little bit, Roy, I would encourage them to understand their enemy. But these people will never go read Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. That's part of the reason why the communism is so effective, is because the people who most of the the hardcore group who might be able to stop it, they're so against those ideas they won't even learn enough about them to understand their enemy, and then now the enemy carries the day.
Yeah,
solely through tactics. Yeah,
bringing in the art of war there.
Yeah, it's disappointing to me. I find it very disappointing, because I can talk about being left leaning. I hate communists. Communism is pure evil, man. I hate that shit.
But I think I did a degree in the cultural studies of media when I was 1920, which was all that postmodern theories, and so coming out of college, I was probably what would be considered a communist, or not, but not a kind of lovey-dovey communist, just the belief that if the people just came together then and worked for a common cause, and all that sort of stuff,
No, I understand
that. A young Jack Talcott, maybe. Never that bad. Never that bad.
Yeah, never that delusional.
No,
he's the world champion in delusion. I think that's most of the fascination with Talcott.
It is completely. Yeah. It's you always want him to have some. You're waiting for that small piece of insight from him, and it ain't ever going to come.
Never.
Yeah,
but that's the fun, is that people continue to look for it.
Exactly, and it's playing around with that, because he comes close loads of times. Do you know what I mean? And you know, you can see them almost on the edge, and you go on. It's like getting someone to jump, you know.
Man.
Mm.
All right, I like it. Firing one up there. Nice. I would rather smoke some actual herb, but in the motel, you know, I don't want to have to burn incense and all of that. The vapes are just more convenient. I hate to say it. I am a typical American in that way. It's just like this shit's it's just easier and more convenient. But the herb, it's way better just to smoke the herb, man. So much better.
If I had the options, do you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, you guys are so limited. That's true. Yeah.
Exactly. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, and yeah, like while I was in the set as well, because I had two police officers waiting. I had to wait about half an hour in the van to get into the police station because they were dealing with other people. So I thought, fuck it, I'll just try my old trick again. So when they weren't observing me closely, I mimicked getting something out of my shoe and putting it in my mouth again, and then explaining to them that I'd taken some cannabis. Blah blah blah. So, you know,
nice.
and that's why they kept me in for 8 hours. Let me out 10:30 at night after the last bus that I could have got home was, you know, scheduled to run and all that. You know, they were just cunts basically.
Yes.
I get a lot of pain from some osteoporosis, and I think I've damaged right shoulder again, Benton. Right shoulder, must be something to it. But I think
there's something about that right shoulder, isn't there?
Yeah, but if you're right-handed, I use my chainsaw single-handedly in my thing all the time. So my right takes a lot of, and when I'm climbing a tree on a rope, I'm pulling my body weight up with, you know, mainly my right hand and all that sort of stuff.
That makes sense.
But they made me wait 4 hours to see a doctor because I was in a lot of pain, but also I didn't have cannabis or, you know, I'm using sort of kratom at the moment to stop my prescription opiate use.
Oh, a little, yeah. That's a bummer, but I guess you got to do what you got to do, right?
Got to get through somehow. And then because my job's such a physical job, I'm, you know, not
one of the most physical jobs.
In a lot of pain, you know, a lot of the time. But you know, we all have our crosses to bear, as they say.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, good to see you, man.
You too, brother. I'm not tuning out. I just had to type a comment.
I know you.
Yeah. I'm always
I've had a lot of hours of viewing your personality, so I know you really well.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, I to some extent, just from reading the comments, it's interesting how much you know, can be picked up over time just through how people type. You know, not that I know you, the person, because you're going to have more information about me because I'm talking so much, but it's fun to try to pick up those little things about somebody's personality, you know, based on the comment. I enjoy that part of it also.
Yeah.
So this is as much love fest as I can do, though, Roy. We've gone full love fest.
I'll tip my hat and we'll move on.
Are you signing off? Are you hanging out? What are we doing? It's up to you, brother.
You know,
as long as you want to hang out, man. I'm
I can hang out for a bit longer. I've got lots of other subjects I could discuss with you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I see actual books behind you. Not that you have to show us the books, but the fact that somebody reads books, you know, now I know they have things to say, right?
Yeah. Well, so some of them, I'd say probably around 50%. I've had a few pages read and then, you know, not progressed to that procrastination, but you know, there are, but it's also, I think it's, especially as we move into the digital age, it's important to try and keep some kind of a library.
Oh, 100%. And I did not get far down the road, but I've even started buying some of my old CDs that I used to have because I think that's, and even just, you know, because I have the YouTube Premium. So that I can turn.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because a lot of these albums that I enjoyed on the streaming services, they just have the remastered version. They don't have the original version.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, a lot, you know, if I heard the original unmastered and then when it came out in the 90s, I might choose to listen to the remastered, but I'm probably going to prefer the version that's close to what I listened to initially.
reminiscent. Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of times I don't think the remastered stuff is as good. It's just my opinion, but sometimes
I
it
agree.
is an enhancement, but then not always.
Yeah, I've kind of, I don't know, over the last few years, I've kind of gone off listening to music. I don't know whether it's because I can't be fucked searching for it, and most of the shit I hear, I'm
Yeah.
not that, you know.
I go in spells with it. I go in spells, and then when I know I'm really getting emo is when I'm listening to a lot of the same music over and over. I was
Yeah.
getting big into Sunny Day Real Estate for a while. They've got like 3 really good albums from the 90s. Well, one of them's from right about the year 2000. Yeah, they were when I was a kid in the 90s, I kept hearing about that band, kind of an underground band, but I was into such angry music at the time, I never bothered to give them a listen, but pretty good stuff, man. But they're known as like involved in the actual emo. You know, you've heard of emo, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
They one of their albums is considered like the best emo album ever, you know, whatever. But I definitely resonate with the emo stuff and always have to some extent for whatever reason. I never embodied that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
my conception of emo is like goth light. Is it?
Yeah, but like kind of feeling pity and sorrow, you know, kind of feeling sorry for oneself.
Yeah. Introspective.
So I was never into the image, but there was something about the music that always appealed to me. So yeah, and I don't think I even knew that was even the emo music. So it was, you know, even like going back to The Cure, maybe.
Yeah, no, I love The Cure, man. Yeah, I've still got some of the Cure music that I listen to. Yeah, the Smiths and into the Smiths.
Yeah, I was a big Smiths guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Meat is Murder.
There you have it.
And everything.
Yeah.
I had the T-shirt and
yeah,
I did my own T-shirt, which my mum destroyed of that kind of that phase of my life, and it said I'd written on it "fuck the Queen," and underneath in brackets, I did.
Nice. Yeah, that's over there. That's one of the most rebellious.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild. You have to put that into context for some of the Americans.
But my first sort of getting into music in a sort of mass sense was getting into the kind of rave scene in the UK. You know, in the sort of 89 to 1992, that summer of love.
Yeah, I don't think we had anything like that in the States. What I've heard of what y'all were doing, I don't think we really had that here. Some of the cities probably, but not.
Yeah, I think maybe the closest thing you'd probably get is the sort of Dead shows and their kind of carnival, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
similar.
Yeah, but that was some crazy times, some interesting times. Interesting way to grow up.
Yeah, we've lived through some interesting times, you know, especially having having the technology, but then also growing up and, you know, presumably playing outdoors and having more of a, and I don't know how you grew up, but just based on our age.
Yeah, no, I grew up on a farm, and it's like you were saying, I relate to what you're talking about, the rites of passage have been lost.
Yes.
You know, I kind of had that in a way because my nana was my Sunday school teacher, and you know we had to go to Sunday school every Sunday, and you know it's quite kind of more a community farming church kind of thing.
Okay.
But then at the age of 12, I was allowed to go and do Sunday mornings with my dad, whereas the girls had to stay at Sunday school, you know.
Oh, okay, I see.
And then by the age of 12, 13, I was like driving tractors and, you know.
Okay.
Doing men stuff, you know.
What size was the town that you lived in?
I still live. I returned to. It's 5,000 people, and we live sort of 2 miles outside. The population of the Isle of Man's only 85,000.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So it is interesting. So what were the avenues for you to experience culture, especially the music? Like,
to get off the Isle of Man. Everyone's kind of ideal as a child, you know, was just to get away. You know? It's kind of culturally backwards in a lot of ways until the internet age.
Yes.
Sort of, and even much after that, we're only starting to become ethnically diverse.
Okay.
In the capital of the town now, in the last few years, really, the ethnic families were always restaurant owners. Every school had an Indian or a Chinese family who would have their kids there, but it was definitely fast food related every time, And then,
like running a restaurant, you mean?
yeah, exactly. Okay. So the local Chinese would send their family to the school, and the local Indian would send their child to the school, but you didn't have people in other walks of life, really. It's very kind of very white, and it's still has been known over the years for being a racist place. And it only legalized homosexuality in 1985, which was 18 years after the UK government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of
so
like
culturally backwards, one might say.
That makes sense. I feel like I have a little better understanding now. That's it's interesting.
Yeah, so it's had its own government set up by Vikings in 979. So it's over 1,000 years old, but it got bought, was sold by a private family to the crown in 1765. Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to read up on that.
Yeah, it's
up on that.
How a private family can come onto the title of an island, that has its own government, and then sell it to the crown is interesting. I haven't looked, I doubt whether the paper trail's there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sounds like some fuckery to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was the reason the crown bought it was because it was a smuggling center. Because if you landed your ship in England, then you'd get taxed at the port, Whereas if you went to the Isle of Man first, you could disperse it onto smaller ships and then send them to the UK and stuff. So it had a long sort of smuggling history. And yeah, it's got quite an interesting history. Yeah. It's got quite an interesting history.
Indeed, sir.
Right, well, shall I let you go on and ramble for a bit longer?
Yeah, I'm just kind of spacing out on the synthetic cannabinoids here. So
yeah, funny.
Although here comes Smith. This will be interesting.
Oh God.
Hey, it's Agent Smith joining us.
Yeah.
Sorry for calling you Agent. I mean 679
rhymes and numbers. Here we go.
What's that?
Well, what's up, man? How are you?
Start rapping. Move your rhymes and your numbers into a rap. I think it'd be cool, man.
I don't rap, man.
You could.
Yeah.
I guess.
don't limit yourself.
That was your chainsaw wound, man. That was gnarly.
Yeah. All good fun. All healed now. All healed now.
Nice.
Near enough.
Cool. How you guys doing?
I'm all right. Thanks for asking. Just
I've had better days.
Yeah. Hanging out.
Nice.
Chill stream. What's on the agenda for Mr. Smith today?
Man, I never got an agenda. I'm always trying to go against the agenda.
Aha! I like that.
I'm fighting the agendas.
Yes, sir.
Jumped on a minute ago. I'm not trying to. It's not about me. Let's hear what you guys got.
Well, I was talking.
No, we want to hear from you now. You can't just come up to listen.
I dropped some gems in the chat there about they were giving people Q-tips because you were saying something about a swab, and then I said about Q-tips, and you got to swab the deck like a Bethlehem Steel ship because that's where they build all the warships. Is Bethlehem Steel Company, and then.
Nice. That into a rap with a fat beat behind it, man.
He doesn't.
No, I don't rap because I don't like rap. Rap shit.
Yeah, he doesn't like rap music. That's the problem.
Fuck rap music, bro.
Yeah,
You do rock rap.
Yeah, I guess.
But
And then the Nazis called their land in Antarctica New Schwabia land, like Klaus Schwab. Because we never really defeated the Third Reich. It's just the Fourth Reich.
well, I tend to agree with you there, sir.
Yeah, they say the Nazis that Boys of Brazil is a documentary where they clone Hitler. And so they take Hitler and they move him to Brazil. And Brazil's capital is like Braille. Can you not see?
Well, what's the Braille connection? I missed the Braille.
Brasilia.
Can you not see?
Brasilia. And the Nazis are 55. The Nazis are SS, which looks like 55, which is Brazil's country code.
I still miss the Braille. That's like the raised text, the raised dots for the blind, right?
Yeah,
And
but he tied it in with the
With Brazil.
Can't you see?
Okay, I just missed it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's all.
I like the decode. But
TATO.
I think that's something for Smith. The audience, if the audience is me, the audience is not always intelligent enough to follow all the way through. I think that's some of the problem.
Yeah, that's all good.
It takes me a minute to catch up sometimes, but I will get there eventually.
He is a clever man.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, imagine having to deal with that all day, right? That's,
Indeed,
having that going around.
If I had that
I
going
got my own
brain.
circus carousel spinning around in here. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's wild.
That's why I like working with trees.
Trees are good. Tree of life.
Yep.
Must have been talking about pot.
Hey. Yeah, and I missed your comments. I was tuned into what Mr. Duggan was saying.
Yeah, no,
here.
it's all good.
But yeah, I saw you. I saw you working.
I do
Just
my
wasn't
own
able
thing.
Oh, I like that.
So we got the fires happen in Maui on 8/8, and it was 244 days before the eclipse. So if you want to call Lahaina Police Department, just dial 808-244. Oprah lives there. Her production company's called Harpo. Oh, that's how they did it. Harp. Oh, that's how. They're doing that where I live right now. We got 2 fires within 20 miles of me. One is 10% contained, one is 0% contained, and there's not a tree burnt. They have no problem just showing it right on the news, melted all the way to the ground, absolutely nothing left, and not a tree burnt.
Yeah, it's wild, man. There's some crazy shit going down. Unexplained for sure. Later on, Roy. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm not trying to kick him out. I liked hearing his story.
No, man.
Gnarly ass wound.
He stops by from time to time. He's it's always a pleasure when he stops by. So appreciate the contributions.
So what else is good, bro? Like I said, I wasn't trying to kick him out. I just wanted to listen to you guys.
Oh, you didn't kick anybody out. I think he had decided to go. I think he was already going to go, actually. Pretty sure. Well, I'm stoned now, so it's sort of letting all that wash over me. Sometimes the broadcast gets a little strange when I get high on the broadcast, so I never really know which way that's going to go.
So all these cities, I don't know if anybody's heard of this, all these cities across America, big or small, they've all had a great fire, probably to conceal things from the past. I thought it was kind of coincidental that the birthplace of Father's Day, even though there's one father, had its great fire on 8/4, like Obama's birthday. You want to know its hottest day on record? The day Obama was born.
Uh-oh. Oh, the day and year. Really? Wow.
The day and year
Hottest day on
Obama
record.
was born.
Damn. I believe you. I'm going to see some of this I don't even know. So day and year Obama.
I made a community post on it. The day I posted I made a community post on it. I posted it, and then it's now had a hotter day, and of course it was 113 degrees. 113.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, a lot of the numbers popping off for sure. Yeah, I didn't know that about when Obama was born.
August 4th, 1961, Spokane's hottest day. It's the Lilac City because it was a lie to lock us down. And lilacs are from the syringa family, And that's where the word syringe comes from. Weird. Take the jab and meet your father.
Sick, man.
It is.
It's like it's a mockery. We're being made a mockery of, sir.
Literally, the word mask
Yeah,
in
literally.
Arabic, the word mask in Arabic translates to buffoon or mockery. They're mocking God.
Hmm.
He won't be.
Indeed.
He will be mocked, but he won't be mocked eventually. He ain't standing for that shit.
I hope that's the indeed. I'm trying not to take it too much into those beliefs specifically, but yeah, that's I'm picking up what you're putting down, sir.
Yeah, and so we got the first day of the Nuremberg trial indictments until you know what Event 201 is at Johns Hopkins University. So from the first day of the Nuremberg trial indictments until Event 201, 27,028 days. That's the zip code of Mocksville. They're mocking God.
It never ends. That's the thing about these decodes. There's just there's no end to it.
There isn't.
It goes. It's infinite. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, it don't got to be about me. I just wanted to listen. I want to hop up on panel and listen and contribute. But I got my own original research, and I always take any chance I can to present my research because I'm sick of people knocking it until they hear it.
Well, that would frustrate me as well. So,
because I hear from London, and I love what London does. Everyone's like, he's groundbreaking. He is breaking the mold. It's like, I'm doing something original too, but I just get, whatever. I ain't playing victim. I get attacked.
Well, I feel like you can. I don't know. I feel like you've got a great opportunity to break through on some level. I mean,
oh yeah.
So I don't have any. I just feel. I believe that can happen.
Yeah.
So looking for that definitely. And
so we have in the Super Bowl, the hindsight was 2020 Goodyear, leap year, aka Goodyear, like Goodyear tires. It was a Mao Zedong great leap forward. They happen every 4 years. It's always an election. We always socially, economically take a massive leap forward in a way. So in that year, you had Shakira performed at the Super Bowl. It was on the 33rd day at 3:30 p.m. on the 33rd parallel. She performs, and her name is Shakira Isabel Mebarak, spelled Mebarak, like, Barack, Ripoll. So her name means thankful, is what Shakira means. Isabel means God calling. And then Mebarak, Ripoll. Thankful God calling me. Barack, ! Ripoll.
Wow.
That's a little different.
Yeah, man. I'm almost speechless. I know you're
not religious.
Where do I go from there?
You could look this one up, and I'll leave you after this one. Someone else can jump up, but look up Luke 10:18 in the Hebrew. It's I beheld Satan as Barak Bama, Baraq Bamah, lightning from the heights, or Barack Obama in Hebrew. It's like Gatorade. Be like Mike. They're talking Robinson. Gatorade's known for the lightning bolt.
That's true.
Gatorade, the Bible, and the Biden under Denver. It's the flaming Ouroboros, like a flaming feather boa. And what do they use for drag? Oh, they use boas. You get it?
Unfortunately, I do, sir.
I made it all up. It's all true.
That's the best part, Smith. Or is it the worst part? I can't really tell anymore.
That's the worst part, is that it's all true.
Yeah. So. It's kind of the best part too, though, in a way. I don't know. Something about that also appeals to me. If I'm going to suffer and if I'm going to choose to suffer based on certain ways in which the dystopia manifests, it might as well have these things built into it that I do take some measure of perverse pleasure in. What does that say about me, though?
You're a little twisted, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
You know what they call the world navigation?
What's that?
WGS 84.
Okay.
Or World Geodetic System 1984 is the full name. It's a weird name for the navigation.
Yep, never thought about it.
Bo Biden died 1984 days before the election.
Yep. Yes, I do remember that one. What was the tie-in with that?
Just that it's 1984.
Okay, yeah. One of my favorite books, by the way.
It's a true story.
Big fan. Yeah. And
1984 was released. It was released 6849. Fantasia is a movie about magic. From Fantasia's release until Magic Johnson's birth, who faked a disease, 6849 days. From Fantasia to Magic. And 1984 released 6849. Now, even crazier, from Fantasia to Kobe, 13,797 days, 13797 zip code, Broome County, Pennsylvania. What's Fantasia about? Is it a magic broom? Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's like I made it all up.
Well, and another thing is, like, it is interesting because something about hearing all of those, various statements in that format, that's going to bring, it could sort of interact with people's schizophrenic thinking in some ways. So it's, to me, when I'm listening to all that, I'm also realize it's a practice of me sort of keeping my own thought process, in a certain within certain parameters, because I could see that while that stuff you're saying is accurate, I could see that same style of thinking being utilized in a more, but having a negative manifestation, if you see what I'm saying.
Oh,
I
think
seem
so.
to be working well. That's my opinion, sir, but feel free to disagree.
Oh, I agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I'm not cupcaking. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I see it in my own comments, and people are trying to on my video or post, and it's like, okay, I appreciate what you're doing there, but you are just being insane and making me look more insane. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, that's what I mean. I think certain people that don't have their own, they don't have a hold of their own thought process enough. I think they are, just sort of running with the ball in a way that's not, now they think they're making connections, and maybe there's actually not connections there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so this kind of helped to solidify some of it for me as I started to see some of the Jordan Obama connections. So you got Jordan's birthday's the 48th day, Obama's 8-4. Jordan's birthday is 2-17. Obama's is going to be the 217th day. And so I started seeing these connections. I made some of them, and people are like, so you're saying Jordan's the Antichrist? No, I'm saying it's pointing you towards that. But then I found that the Sodom and Gomorrah was in the Jordan River Valley. Lot's wife turned back to Sodom and Gomorrah and was turned to a pillar of salt. Lot, like Charlotte, Jordan owns Charlotte, and the Strong's Concordance word for salt is 217, like Jordan's birthday. Galilee means beyond Jordan, and Jordan means who is like God, and he's known for the all-mocking tongue. Like I said, people aren't in the streets getting shot over Patrick Mahomes' shoes. No one's getting robbed over a Tom Brady jersey. It's Jordan's. It's Jordan's.
That's true.
Yeah, let's get O'Shea up in here. He'll raise your energy level. I'm going to lead us to the battle of
I'm good. That's right. Shout out to No Despair Bear. That wasn't even a cop. That was a security guard, if you can believe that. I found an old video on one of my phones. The freaking security guard giving me the business in Oklahoma City. What's up, Sunshine Time? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm glad you've been tuning in some of the time there, Mr. Smith. Always happy to see you around. See, that's the thing is I've never really made fun of Smith's decodes. We dislike each other personally some of the time. It's actually got nothing to do with his creative side. So I am a little dismayed when I see Smith. People are taking it to Smith on the basis of the decodes. It's like, well, no, man. Do we really need to give him a hard time?
No, and
based on all of that.
It's like when other people, they're like, you're crazy. It's like, it's cool. You can just ignore it. You can just pretend.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, precisely.
Put your head in the sand.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. Mr. Brian O'Shea has joined the panel.
Hello, gentlemen.
How are you, sir?
What up, boss? It's a good acronym for you. Call you boss. Brian O'Shea.
Just being revealed day by day. It's all making sense.
What is?
Figuring it
Brian
out
O'Shea.
there, sir?
Brian O'Shea, the initials also are BO.
Like body odor?
Barack Obama, Satan.
Exactly.
Nice.
Oh, and Barack Obama.
Kids at school used to be really. Kids at school used to be really cruel. They were like, "Your initials are B.O., faggot."
Oh man, I like it. Is that in the routine at present? Is that? Are you doing material?
Yeah, I'm up with that. I tried that on stage one time, and then I carried over because I do some gay shit, and then I hit them with that. You got to kind of hit them up. Yeah. Yeah. My name's
Well, I
Brian
wouldn't
O'Shea,
know.
so my initials are B.O.
Well, having
You
never
wouldn't
done
know what?
stand-up, I wouldn't know having never done stand-up, but I am a fan of the endeavor. But yeah, having never actually performed myself, I wouldn't know. But I like hearing your
I
what you
saw
have to say about it.
that.
That audio's
Either
bad.
I'm borging out or you're borging out.
That's Brian.
Okay, you're borging, Brian.
Sounds like you're on a space station.
Is it still Borgen?
Nope.
You're good now. Probably just a temporary glitch.
Yeah, you were doing stand up with that Oklahoma cop.
Oh, thank you. I didn't realize it. Come back, Brian. Borg out. Yeah, BO means Borg out. That's right. Good to see you, Chuck. Yeah. Borg out. Borg out.
We're gonna have a AI domination here, full spectrum.
Full spectrum AI domination.
Yeah.
You're about to have been streaming for 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 22 seconds in a few seconds here.
Oh yeah, getting a screenshot.
So what did I say? What was I saying before the government booted me off your stream?
Something about I was doing stand up with that, and that was not a cop, by the way. That was actually a security guard, believe it or not.
He busted out handcuffs on you?
Yeah, I'm pretty. The thing is, man, it's Oklahoma City, and the cops don't care if he cuffs me because they're just going to come throw me in the car, dude. It's a different type of place, man. They would absolutely arrest me for disorderly just based on his say so. It's fucking wild. I'm sure you've been there at some point.
Yeah, they fucking searched me, dude. I got this. I wish I could. I should try to get the body cam footage of them searching my car. These rookies, dude. This rookie pulled me over, and I had it in my head, like, because I was listening to Crow 777. I was like, "Fuck these guys when they pull you over." You know what I mean? I had it in my head. I had expired license, expired tags, no insurance as usual. Fucking. I started getting, I just wasn't being a little bitched, whatever say, because he wanted me to go in his car or something. I don't know what the fuck. He's like, "You want to get out of the car?" I was like, "No, I don't want to get out of the car." Then eventually he like orders me out of the car, put cuffs on me. I'm sitting in fucking their car. I have only shorts on, no shirt, no shoes, no socks, just fucking shorts. And then this other rookie starts searching my car, and it's just filled with all types of bullshit. Anytime a cop searches my car, it's like the funniest thing, because it's just the last thing anyone would want to do is fucking meticulously take apart my car and go through it, when I'm at my worst. And it's just like, these fucking losers. And I was sober at the time, dude. He was desperately trying to find a roach or anything to put me in jail. And so they didn't find anything, and it's fucking, yeah.
Yeah, and where that truck stop is, dude, it's like hundreds of homeless people on foot, like all hours of the night too. So he's definitely dealing with a lot of the undercurrents of society. But the fact that he's not able to tell that, yeah, I'm adjacent to that world, and I was in it to some extent, but I'm obviously slightly above that level in some ways. He should have been able to determine.
If you don't have a truck here and you don't have laundry in here, we're gonna have a bigger
Later, Smith.
problem now.
Yeah, that exactly, that whole thing. It's like, and I already knew I didn't have a problem. I'm getting out of the thing, I'm gonna be fine. But just that the idea that I'm somehow now I'm in a fear space because he's talking about there's gonna be a problem. Yeah, well, I'm resolving the problem. Actually, that was what was happening. Say I'm the one dealing with the problem. You're the problem, sir. I'm dealing with you.
He's like, step back.
Realistically, what was happening? Yeah, I told him I said, you step back. What the fuck, dude? I'm not. And not that I'm some tough guy, but I could have folded that dude up. No fucking problem. Yeah, there wasn't much to him physically. Because he was trying to do the I'm physically imposing thing. And it's like, well, actually, no, you're not. So now I'm physically imposing.
I think he was trying to.
How do you like them apples? What's that?
I think he was trying to do the voice thing too, because people were saying he had the archaic voice, and that archaic voice is a voice.
Ah, it's terrible, man. Terrible. Yeah. Yeah, like basically the closest thing he can make to an actual having bass in his voice, but it's not real bass. Like the bass bone don't connect to the testicle bone. You know what I'm saying? Like the path, some of the wiring got disconnected. It doesn't go all the way through to the balls, and it's just somehow we can tell, right?
I'm all about this book called Ora Linda. Ora Linda.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. Yeah. And whether it's real or not, dude, the timing of it. Like I typed in this dude chat, I said, he was playing an audio excerpt of the book, and I said in chat, I said, it feels like I was tested on this book about freedom at this point in the timeline. Yeah, it's a book about freedom. It's these people, these Frisians. They're like these people that near Germany. They were like natural seafaring people who didn't give a fuck, or they were naturally real good at navigation of the sea. But the way their society works, it seems like exactly what we're trying to create, like kind of with Paul and stuff like that. And bro, they were just all about freedom. Like I put that quote in there where they say, they'd rather be dead than a slave. It's kind of like their motto. And bro, I just can't wait to read. I got the book downloaded in PDF, the newest translation. So I got it in PDF on my phone. I'm excited to read the motherfucker. I don't know, bro. Seems very spiritually ordained. Like the book should have been hidden from us, but just because of
which book?
It's OERA and then Linda, like the female name Linda, LINDA. And kind of all about it right now. And my experience yesterday in court, like I don't know, made me feel like a little bit more free, made me feel like a little bit more of a man. Like I wanted to go in there and talk to a judge, but I wasn't able to. But the whole experience and kind of doing it live on OCW stream and having Paul and Wizard there, I don't know. I just felt empowered. I feel like I slept a little different last night. I feel like a little bit of a different person. Like I'm sort of transitioning into this thing because it's like addictive. Like Paul said, once you start getting a taste for this fucking thing, like how a lot of us have these addictions. Like it's a cool addiction, like to get like now you want more and more and more of this shit, And they just lose all power. Like the monster, the boogeyman just starts dissipating. Paul's in chat, huh? Yeah, code.
Yeah, and thanks for the
Code.
reminder. I do believe it's important for people to speak explicitly. So probably I referred to something as a law that was in fact code, which which means it's not law. And I like one of the many things that Paul provides is he's not going to let that slide when he's around, nor should he. So although I caught myself earlier and I managed to point out that it's many times it's code LARPing as law, right? And I must have misspoken. And I think these distinctions are very important for the purposes of these discussions. And I
Isn't it
absolutely
interesting?
concur, by the way. What's that, sir?
Isn't it interesting that they use programming uses code, and code is not law? So when they're trying to program you.
Yeah, I never considered that, but I see that. That's an interesting dynamic there, certainly. That's an astute point,
Secret
sir.
code? A secret code? Like it's a code, it's a secret code. It's a code. It's a code. A code is like also like
well, then my own code as a man, my own ethics, as it were, it's my own system of ethics. That is referred to as a code as well. And then
right. It used to be more of an honorable thing.
Well, but also how confusing the English language is, seemingly intentionally, in my view. But please proceed, sir.
Probably be a thing like he lives by a certain code. In this community, they have a code of ethics, right? And so they took what something that's probably honorable and good, a code, and they've transmuted it into this bullshit that subverts the law. That's more along the lines of like a programming, simulation, slavery. They've
yeah, a set of rules and standards adhered to by a society, class, or individual. It's one of the meanings of code presently. We also have a systematic collection of laws or regulations. And I think what we're typically seeing is that, in fact, they're not laws, they are regulations, corporate regulations and bylaws, right? But not in adherence with, and I think this is the key point that many folks miss in Paul's famous interaction, his police stop is, Paul seems to demonstrate a knowing that the law will, in the end, have no choice but to conform itself to spiritual law, or what may be referred to as God's law, whatever I may mean God to be in that context. And then that's where we get into the tricking out of position, because the system seemingly will wait till the very last moment before it finally, assents or accedes to the reality that it has no choice but to adhere to the greater spiritual law.
Yeah, here's a quote from that book I put in your chat. Yeah, the Freya people. So they say, without freedom, all other virtues will only make you into slaves, bringing eternal shame upon your ancestry. So it's pretty powerful when you encounter people that are slaves, and they could have these virtues, right? They could have these qualities about them that are good. But it's like, fuck that shit. It don't matter, dude, if you're a slave, and it's going to bring eternal shame. So it's like, I go into a courtroom and the judge seems like, oh, she's intelligent and she, whatever, has these qualities, these virtues, right? But she's not acknowledging the slavery and she's going along with this fraudulent shit. And most judges probably know. So she's bringing eternal shame upon her ancestry. So it's just like, nothing else matters, dude. You could sing as good as you could sing like an.
Go ahead, sir. Keep going. You got it.
You could sing like an angelic angel, like Nathan Sanders, and it doesn't matter. You're still a slave.
Dun dun dun.
That was a joke.
Mr.
Nathan Sanders, but Nathan Sanders.
What's that link, Christos? Hey, Mr. Unslaved. I like that he's dealing in specificities here, whereas I may be speaking in generalities at times. Legal code is for members of the legal society, which is different from the law society. There are two on record, and this is that's very interesting. And I've heard talk of so-called parallel systems in many different ways. State of Arkansas, and then as one entity, and another entity referred to in a different name. I'm no expert in these matters, certainly. So, but yeah, I find it fascinating, to be sure.
Yeah, these Frya people, they seem to not. They don't fucking play with slavery, dude. They don't fucking have slavery among their people. They look at slavery a certain way. Once it starts being introduced and being okay in society, that's the downfall of it. Like, and so like, yeah, there's these two. And so, like, they got the code, it seems like, for the slaves, and the law seems like for the free people. Like, the two jurisdictions. The all caps name is your slave name.
Well, Mr. O'Shea, did I ever tell you that the first copy I had of my own birth certificate, it was in mixed caps, and now they've redone them in the all caps. So when I can't, they will no longer give me like a copy of that one I had before. And eventually I lost my copy of it. Right. But it's the certificate of live birth or whatever. Arkansas is so backwards. I guess they were just behind the times on whatever the paperwork was, but now it's, slaved up to the max, right? It's probably the birth certificate. It basically looks like a car title, right? Versus I had just like a Xerox back in the day of just somebody wrote on a typewriter, like the doctor probably typed it up, or his secretary or whatever. So something's definitely going on.
Yeah, it's a title. Your property then, dude. Yeah, you're no better than a fucking toaster or an automobile and a piece of property. Like, that's your fucking serial code number, that birth certificate number, your driver's license. Those are your fucking little serial fucking code. You're no longer a man. You're a fucking piece of property.
Well, from their perspective, of course, absolutely. You're 100% on the money. That's how they, or the system or the state, views the matter. And then I'm like Paul may say, or like I've heard people say, if I'm willing to just accept their point of view and not state, well, actually no, or if I'm going along with it, then I'm kind of agreeing to it in a way. It seems like, even if I don't fully understand. That seems to be my understanding of how those topics are viewed by certain folks. Yeah,
and there's no gray area, dude. Either you're a slave or you're not.
Well, real quick, let me stop you there. When I talked about Paul seeming to understand and people missing the point about the spiritual law, well, if I'm willing to accept that on some level this is a spiritual war, and everything I do and everything I think and do for the entire course of my life, there is no middle ground. It either serves good, or we may call that creation or God, or it serves evil or destruction, or however you want to term that. I don't think that's debatable. There is no play in the middle in those regards. So I absolutely, that lines up for me what you're now saying. So I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking about that book, dude. That book, dude, just seems. It seems like I said, it seems like it's spiritually ordained or some sort of destiny or fate for me to be reading that book. Well, now I won't say it's 100% not some sort of like, why am I even allowed to find that thing? And like, so there's a chance there's something to it, but if I keep reading it and find good shit in it, like, that's empowering me on this fucking freedom thing, because that's what they are, dude. There are people who's just all about freedom. That's their whole fucking thing, dude. They said borders. They were like natural sea like navigating type people, and they didn't fucking recognize borders. Like borders, like dude, the way they run their society too, the way they fucking, if you look at like they have all these little rules and different little systems for how their little communities and society work. And it just makes so, and women play a big part in it too. And it gets misunderstood as a matriarchal society, but it's really not. It's really, but women play like a very powerful, special role in that society, which I like. Like they have a lot of power, but it's not a matriarchal society, which makes sense. Like God, man, woman, child. So it's, you know, a lot of it's lining up with what we've been talking about on Paul's show, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it feels like it's divinely or inspired that I'm able to read it. Like Paul talked about, like he should have died a few times, and it's just like he wasn't gonna die no matter what. Like it just wasn't gonna happen. It wasn't part of the timeline. It wasn't, and we didn't realize that till looking back. Like even things with me, like this incident with a train, dude. There's no way I should have not got chopped in half by the wheels of this train, bro. I should not have been able to hold on to the ladder. But I was as far as God as you could be, dude. I was in the street doing drugs. I had a possessed by demon look in my eyes. But when I knew I was about to get ripped, my grip was about to fail, and I was going to get ripped into them wheels. I looked up at my hands and I thought of God, and I got superhuman strength, and I didn't get ripped in. But it shouldn't have happened, bro. It basically wasn't possible, dude. But that's just one incident. That was just a Tuesday at 3 p.m. There's all these incidents where I should have been dead, dude, and it just wasn't going to happen, man.
Well, see,
Like
that's what I experience as spiritual protection, being guided and protected spiritually. But we're just using different words for the same thing, as far as I'm concerned. But please continue, sir.
Yeah, I got shot. I'm bleeding out for hours and hours. Nothing happens. My legs, no damage to my leg. Like I said, I jumped up, grabbed the rim with both rims 2 days later. What is that shit?
Well, that's something within you, Brian, that can never be defeated, sir. The word for that is indomitable spirit. You cannot
I'm just saying,
be defeated.
Well, I'm just saying maybe it was.
Well, Brian, man to man, it's the same thing that compelled me to walk 17 miles the first day I was medically cleared to walk after being in bed for 3 months with a broken heel. It's the same fucking thing, bro. We cannot be defeated on some level.
I'm not saying it's continuing. I'm not saying that that's something I should lean on, where I should walk up to people in situations like I'm bulletproof. I'm saying only to get me to this exact point right here, like to find that book, to get into this freedom mindset, to not be a slave. Like it's the only thing that fucking matters. Like rather be dead than a slave. Like,
well, and I'm
slavery.
Looking forward to what you end up creating and bringing into this realm as a result. You know, that's the interesting part to me, is what will be born out of these changes that you're making in your life. That's, to me, that's the interesting part.
Yeah, and part of it was my experience at that court yesterday, dude. And the people just look such slaves, dude. I got fucking aggravated with the counter person, and then I started lashing out at all of them. I started calling them bitch ass slaves. But it's like I know that that's not cool, but it just so breaks my heart, bro. Just looking at it, was all brown and black people and some white people, but they're all like the same, because they're all just poor, broken, slave. Just they don't, like, it's like their spirit's fucking broken, dude. Their soul is lessened.
Yeah, and that's my basis for compassion towards them, 100%. And that is.
So I was just trying to rile them up, dude. I'm like, you bitch ass slaves taking it up the ass. No one's gonna stand up for themselves. And I was saying it loud, and people were kind of looking, but it wasn't loud enough to where security could be called, but it was loud enough to where they heard me. I mean, I was really talking to myself. I knew it, like all criticism, self-criticism. Like I'm even trying to pump myself up. Just looking around that room, dude, it was just breaking my heart, bro. I'm like, bro, we don't have to put up with this bullshit. And even the people working there, I told this Asian kid, somehow I brought up the word slavery. I go, you know, we're all slaves, right? And he looks at me and he very genuinely, and he goes, Yeah, that's true, man.
Damn.
And then he motivated me. Like, get on the show. We're gonna pump you up. We're gonna turn you into a real man. You know, not And I'm like I said, all criticism, criticism, calling it, saying he's not a real man. You don't need my stuff needed to be pumped up and leveled up too. I'm like, we're gonna get you leveled up and turn you into a real man. And that's when he was like, okay, brother, have a good day. And then I was like, I got my eye on you, man. Like, and other people are kind of listening and looking. And then I'm telling the people in the hallway if they were smiling. I go, no smiling in this building. And the sheriff was smiling. And I said, no smiling in this building. I go, this is a den of thieves. Isn't that what they talk about in the Bible? Because aren't most courthouses, they were originally in the temples and the churches? That's where you would go to settle the civil matters. If you had disputes, you'd go to the church. That's where the courthouses would take place. They turned now into a den of thieves, just like they put the marketplace in the temple and the usury. That's another thing that book doesn't like, that Ori Linda book. They don't like that usury. They say when usury starts getting involved. Yeah.
Fucking usury, man.
And they brought up the people that are into usury.
God dang small hats, man.
Well, they brought up the people that were into usury, and they said anyone that's in the usury, even if it's a little bit, they said never ever trust that person. That is a person that will steal from their mother, that will steal this, they'll do anything for the money. They don't give a fuck. Never trust a person who dabbles in usury or thinks it's cool in any way. They said, okay, if we allow them in our society, we allow that a little bit, that's okay, but just never trust that person. Never, just always know that person's always going to be a snake like that. They're never going to have a true conviction in their heart to do good.
Makes sense.
Predator. I resonate.
Predators. Parasites. Parasitic.
Yeah.
Very parasitic.
They said they
the monthly gift.
Sounds
right
like
now.
Tony Robbins.
For just $18 a month or 60 cents a day, you'll help rescue slaves from their looping. You'll provide them with things like food,
CBE.
shelter, and even psychological
Hashtag pay Jack.
What's up? What's up, Tommy? Good to see you,
I
sir.
too have a premiere.
Oh, fantastic.
Give it another minute.
Porn bomb incoming, Tommy?
No, everybody knows where to find that stuff. Don't need any help.
Do you need the screen? Are you showing us something? Or should I go to your
No,
channel?
I'm waiting for this to finish uploading and then we can play it. Like I'm uploading it to my channel.
Well, I'm going to your channel right now.
Yeah, Paul's voice in that video sounded like Tony Roberts because that's the AI
Tony
version.
Roberts.
So I could tell the AI voice of Paul and the real Paul, you know, because that program is able to do that.
Wow.
I don't like the AI yet. It's going to get way better, but what they give us will be way better soon, I'm sure.
Well,
I just don't like the deep fake voices personally. But go ahead, sir.
There's one online that the more you use it, the better it'll get at taking your like you got to give it your voice and it learns how to mold it to whatever person you're trying. But for like each like celebrity or whatever you would want, you have to put a certain amount of credits and time into it.
And that's why video evidence in the court's not going to become that important anymore. We got Paul enslaved here.
Well, you're going to use AI to tell you what's AI and what's not. It is going to be crazy. But yeah, how can you believe any newscast, any presidential thing, you know? Like your guess is as good as mine.
World's best daddy mobile. Are you out and about, Mr. Unslaved?
His connection, he might not have the best connection.
More calling Larson.
Hey, Benton, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Yes.
We just picked up a new sponsorship. It's the SPLS, the Society for the Protection of Looping Slaves. Benton, could you please play the interstitial? We have an ad.
We just played.
Oh, you did play it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect
So
time.
yeah, okay, that's good. I just want to make sure that Tommy's also here. He is in fact a looping slave. So if anybody needs assistance, I want you to immediately call that hotline if you witness a struggling beta male looping slave online. So that's pretty much all I had to report, Benton. Thank you.
Indeed, sir. Thank you for. I'm happy to spread that message. 1-800-SLAVERY. Is that what it was? I believe. I'll have to go back and view.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes. Call 1-800-SLAVERY, and that will. If you are experiencing struggle and strife in your life from a looping slave, 1-800-SLAVERY. The SPLS. New organization on the scene.
Yeah, there's going to be all these suburban white women. They see that infomercial late at night after a bunch of glasses of wine, and they're going to get all sad and start crying for Tommy and Flow State. They're going to adopt them, you know what I mean, or whatever. You know what I mean? They're going to send that money. They're going to get the little certificate with Tommy's face on it. They're going to get updated.
I'm straight on.
They're going to get updated progress reports weekly on how Tommy's doing now that they've paid for him to be adopted into.
I can't be adopted. I'm not
adopted into a home, into an orphanage for broken looping slaves where they can get care.
I'm not broken.
When they adopt you, we send them weekly progress reports.
You're going to go to a home for slaves called county jail.
And I'm going to be the freest, most happy, free motherfucker in there. Just glory to God, because they're fucking with me for standing on something. And I'm just going to feel so great. I'm going to talk to the other inmates and they're going to start fucking agreeing with me. I'm going to be doing push-ups.
All right.
I'm going to learn how to clean shit. It's going to be, my jail cell's going to be way cleaner than my car. the toilet in the jail cell. I'm gonna take pride, like Wes Watson, and clean that toilet. Wash my sheets with Tide. I'm gonna sleep like a baby in there while you're fucking tweaking, wishing you had meth, sad that you're in there, wanting to commit suicide, thinking your life's over.
Wait.
In
Why am I going to be in
the
jail?
arms of an angel.
Did you get it? Did you find it, Ben?
Oh, is your video up now?
Better hope they don't put me in prison. I'll come out like the Incredible Hulk.
All right, Ben. I'll
Yeah,
see you later. I'm gonna go
Nah,
post that video on my
hold
other
on,
channel.
Paul. You want to see this?
I'm
You
not
wanna see this
interested in watching Tommy's meandering.
It's us from yesterday. It's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it's boring
Well-
and all. It's always the same nonsense. I'll see you guys later.
Well,
See you
I
later,
think we're
man.
actually all right, man. I was planning on holding off actually, but
Paul and
I
Slink's
watched
pretty cool.
now I'm kind of inclined to play it. But thanks for stopping by, Paul. Much appreciated, as always. The SPLS, the new cot flicks. Yeah, Tommy, I'm increasingly finding myself in an awkward position with the Paul Tommy dynamic, ever evolving and changing, but then still kind of the same, kind of always the same at the same time. Any thoughts?
Actually, I'm the one that was gonna not panel with him until #PayJack.
Well, I remember a time when you were just going to be done talking about him at all. I mean, far be it for me.
Right,
to
and then
bring
he
that up.
kept pursuing me when I do not.
Yeah. Well, then the lore happened. Yes, I understand.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about it. We're kind of.
I don't think I'm playing the video right now, Tom. I think I'm going to try to let things settle a little. Let the dust settle a little bit versus the.
This isn't anything. It's not anything. It just is more of what happened yesterday. I just extend it. It's just a lot of Jack trying to talk to Paul and Paul just giving him the stare. Only I extend it. Add a little.
Yeah. Well, Paul seems like he's kind of over it, I have to say.
Over what?
Well, he's embraced some of the lampooning of his presentment or his public image.
This is just reaping and sowing. I mean,
image.
When you put yourself out there like that, it's going to be huh?
Well, I mean, that's what you're saying. I'm not inclined to disagree necessarily for the purposes of the conversation, but you realize I don't necessarily agree with what you're asserting here.
What?
What you just said.
Well, I mean,
about Mr. Unslaved.
What did I say?
A bit of a dig at his character there. You characterized his.
Yeah, tell me what I said.
Aspects of. Well, I can't go back and grab.
Well, to what? I mean, you don't have to quote me, but what?
But I understood your message, sir.
What did I say?
Hey guys, I just
have to go back and watch my own stream.
I'll rewind it.
Guys, can I say something real quick? I just can't do this right now. You guys have fun though. I'll.
Sure, Brian. Okay. Sure.
I'll talk to you later. Okay.
All
right.
Okay.
See you later.
Okay. Now listen here, Mr. Benton. I'm not gonna play the fucking bad guy. I've been scraping that dude off of me for a year, and I don't think it's even gonna end anytime soon.
Unless you're going to.
It's not going to be pouty just because I'm on the tops right now with my fucking hoax war status. Big deal. We made a stand. And he's not fucking sitting around here coming at me. Big deal. Isn't that better?
I would like to be able to continue to have you on the channel without having to think I really don't want to bring Tommy up right now because of what may occur as a result. That's all I'm saying. It's not a threat.
What makes you think that?
How I view the situation.
I mean, it's always been that way.
No, that's true to an extent. However, again, as the thing unfolds, I'm starting to not appreciate, not that anyone's putting me in a position, but that I am choosing to.
Dude, he's got keys to your stuff. Like, I'm in no kind of position to be leaning on either of you.
Well, it's been a convenient place to battle in the past when that was not the case, right?
Battle, I think you mean me just be defensive and get came at. I don't pursue the dude.
Well, again,
This is why
you know, everybody's
y'all
going to
are
make their own
culted up.
judgments. Everybody's, oh, y'all. Yeah, y'all. Exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, if everybody sees it as me and him like clashing, it's like, no, I'm usually just chilling and he's coming for me. Same with Snafu. Same with those pedo kids, the linguini kids. It's like, I'm just chilling. But if you put me in a corner, I'm going to fucking lash out.
I just don't. I don't have the energy for this, Tom. Honestly,
Uh,
I
energy
enjoy
for high?
it though. Oh man.
So you know, Moose is like trying to take your mortal clout. He's trying to say he's like in a bad way, losing like 15 pounds, but he's still like yucking it up, doing backflips and shit. But hopefully, I mean, in a perfect world, you will be around to do Moose's wake, and I'll be happier if Moose just goes ahead and dies. I can't read fucking.
He's just having to go at you like normal. Kim before the storm. Shout out to you, brother.
Live in the same
Actually, I was giving Kim some kudos this morning on the saunter, the morning saunter.
Oh yeah, I gotta go download Truther Cup from last night and splice that. Did you see that time on Jack Talcott's stream that he got froze up and kicked, and I just kind of took over the stream? That happened
No,
on.
I tend to miss a lot of those things for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna splice them together though. I'm gonna. It happened on Talcott's stream, and last night it happened on Machine Lies. It's pretty funny.
I don't think I got your notification, Tommy. See, yeah, YouTube has definitely stepped up the fuckery on the notifications. I should have gotten a notification.
What, did the video drop?
Yeah.
So do you have a subject going, or do you not want to talk about
No,
stuff?
I got the notification. However, I did not get the push notification. No, I'm good, man. I'm just sorting. I'm sorting through things on my own, so it's all good. No worries.
I mean, are you shutting it down?
No, I'm just stoned mostly.
Yeah, I can smoke a bowl. So what's going on then? What have you been doing?
Are
you still gonna try and go back to work, or is that a done? Like, is that out of the question?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that ship is. Yeah, it's pretty much done deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not able to work. I'm not able to feel at my best enough to actually do the job. Unfortunately, not on a consistent basis.
They talk like we could be locked down again any time anyway.
Well, that's always on the table, right? That's always. But yeah, I follow the news cycle to some extent with respect to those matters, so I'm aware.
Yeah, I got Talcott's yesterday. That's what I made the video out of, but not the OTW stuff. It was funny when he lost his shit though. Like whenever Jack kicked him, and I'm sitting here going, "Wow, wow." But yeah, I am ignoring Jimmy Shivable. He can come to a fucking panel if he wants to say that shit, because he's like G-Spot. He's a punk. He just wants to sit down there and type away like a broken hoe.
Hey, Dow, feel free to email me time codes and links if you want to. I can cover some of that stuff, but I can't really keep up with it all.
Yeah.
He's talking about OTW losing it on him, I guess, in Talcott's.
Yeah, and then if you watch Paul before they go to Jack, you hear OTW warn like, just so you know, I come in just after this and I get kicked off the panel. And he does. He comes in losing his shit. Are you hosting any
Yeah.
of the zoo shows?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do the Monday. I want to do the first one.
All right.
I'll have to talk to Z, but yeah, I'm hoping to do the first one. And
Is
sort
it
of set
next
the
week,
tone
or
for the
does he
week.
know when he's leaving?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was hoping he would email me. I'd like to be able to email the guy, but
It's cool
that
he's
hasn't
letting
happened
people
at this
do it,
point.
but with it not being
Yeah, definitely.
monetized, you'd think he'd just take a week to not have the show going.
Yeah, it'll be a fun thing though. I would assume he's going to be tuning in to some extent. But then would he be able to control himself and not want to intercede, right? Or intercede in the appropriate way at times, potentially. It's interesting.
It's like Truth or Cops jumping on my crypto train. It's better than people disregarding it. Yeah, man, I wasn't really aware of or voicing the key detail all this time that the act of going cashless, yeah, it's cashless, but this is when all governments will lose say over their money. It's like only the Federal Reserve World Bank and Ponzi will be in charge of all money. Sketchy.
Reading the chat. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up in about 20 minutes at noon. I sort of like the idea of enforcing the hard out, but then not really knowing, not scheduling it ahead of time. Just like, yeah, I think
yesterday
we'll
I missed it by like 3 seconds. It was like good on you hitting the button, but I had like 3 words. If it would have got in, it would have been like 100% clean to the second ending. Antmore. Tau, you are not banned, Antmore.
Yeah. Well, I feel like shit, OTW, but the stream always seems to help for the most part. It does. The stream does seem to help for whatever reason.
If you want to play the video out, it's kind of relaxing. It's not real hype. It even
I think it's a no for me. It's a no for me today, Tom. And that was before Paul left. Yeah. I know, man. I got to.
No, it's fun. That's more views it'll get whenever people didn't view it on a panel.
Well, and I'm certainly going to promote your channel as I was going to do anyway. So.
Yeah, I know. And I know you'll comment what you think of the video. I'm just at a loss for subject matter. Trying to find, what did I say? Machine wise?
Well, and you know, it's my job as the audience, as the host, to, if Paul pops in, you know, and I need to keep him around for a minute or two, right? He ain't going to hang out if we're not, if the show comes to a screeching halt.
Me or Paul?
No, Paul, because everybody just sort of waits for him to talk. Not you. I mean, that's you just not talking over him. But
I mean, me and Paul have panels that we just roll right along with whatever's going on.
I know. I've seen them. I've seen you guys. It's an amazing. It's an interesting. Whatever.
Only one of us that has to decide for it to be that way.
Well. Yeah. Shout out to you, OTW. You're next with the plugs, by the way. That's Tommy's link down there. Show his channel. That's not his channel. That's his channel. He's creeping on up there, up to 226 at Aluma Tommy, and he is hard to find sometimes. So your quickest way, other than clicking the link in the chat, will be to just type at Aluma Tommy into the search bar of YouTube.
Yeah, there's a lot of screen names in our circles that if I go try and find their channel, you type their screen name in, you're gonna be scrolling for a while and still not find anything.
Yeah, some of these channels are very tough to find. So We know that's by design.
Yeah, well, and also it's
Okay.
on us, I guess, that sometimes we make a profile just to take part and don't realize we're gonna be videoing.
Uh-oh. Yeah, buried by the algo. That's right.
Yeah. See, there's an extent that we're buried by the algo, but then there's also an extent I don't really think any of us are shadow banned as much as we just don't come up and there's nobody looking outside of our circles. Unless people like share by word of mouth or by sharing videos around. Oh, is OTW firing up?
Yeah, that's good. That's good timing because I don't have too much left in the tank today, honestly. So yeah. Although it's been a great show for me. I
Try and
redeemed
wow, they're
myself.
111.
Yeah, I redeemed
Try and stop it at
myself from
311.33. Stop it at 311.
Damn, Tom, I haven't quite wrapped up yet. Oh man. I kind of want to though, because he asked for it, but I shan't. Of course, then he'll probably come back when I don't end the broadcast. Yeah, I started to say, Paul, don't go. I won't show the video, but I had to stop myself. And then I had already decided when Tommy started pushing, just assumed I was going to play it. I assumed I was going to play it too. And then I thought, he's probably having a go at Paul. And that was before Paul even came on. And I'm like, I know Paul was in the chat. And, yeah, I understand why Paul is over it to some extent. With respect to Tom. So I get it. I feel like I get it anyway. Well, if that's Cage, then I misjudged him. That's all I can say. Christos says legend has it that Ice grills his Cage. Well, that'd be interesting because if that's Cage, then I certainly misjudged the man. Ice Grill says, "Shut up, Christos." Genghis is skanks. Oh man. I'm not even really smart enough to figure out who most of the people are, even though I know that's got to be somebody else, somebody that I know. Yeah, that's I don't think that's Cage either, Rob. I'm pretty sure my read on Cage is accurate. But now I got Flow State coming after me here and there. Nothing too serious, but just a little bit of flex here and there. And I'm like, man, do I really need to shoot my mouth off about Flow State? I'm starting to think maybe sometimes I could discretion may be the greater part of valor, as they say. Not scared. It's like, why make a problem when there wasn't a problem? So I don't know. Probably won't be able to get myself out of whatever that's going to turn into. But yeah, I want to say this to Tommy. I want to wrap up on this if Tommy's still around, and just for the channel in general, and hopefully, wait a minute. Hopefully Paul. Hold up. I've distracted myself. What's OTW doing to us with this footage, this B-roll? I think I just had an epileptic seizure, by the way. Goodness gracious. Shout out to watching the video and not just listening. Holy smokes. But as much, like I say, the channel almost became a gay hookup at a certain point. Then
and if you discover your purpose,
I managed to right the ship.
You don't know how young you are. What if you die?
Even if I did. However, then it was like almost like Jesus Wars or something. I don't even know what you call that. And then I beat that back. And then, like I say, we had like half a day of Satanism, and
So if you're 50 and you feel like
I'm like, well, I'm not the idea police, but I'm pretty sure I just said the live chat's going to decide which way this thing goes.
don't think about time and age
And so now it's like the I can't let it become the bashed Paul Enslaved channel, because I am a fan, lest we forget. And I don't really even work within the term like haters, right? You know, I don't even really interface with those concepts, generally speaking. So, but I would say, you know, most of the folks who might be categorized that way, whether rightly or wrongly, they, you know, they have to be fans on some level, I would assume, but I don't really know. So if I don't know if Paul shows up with the keys, and I didn't even know he could do whatever he did to I Am the Dow, but I don't know, man. If Paul shows up and doesn't want to read your comments, or probably maybe he does that in part to keep me from being able to put your comments on the screen. That's the thing, is if Paul's here and Dow says something funny, I'm clicking it every time, man. Like, that's sort of what we've established here, and I think I enjoy that dynamic, certainly. So I'm not gonna not do that just because it's Paul, right? So, but then I'm not gonna do it to him more than other people either. So yeah, you know, if Paul wants to be able to cruise by and hang out to some extent, and maybe talk to O'Shea, and I'm going to do what I can to not play Tommy's videos. And I paused it, and Tom was like, it was about to be about Paul. I'd forgotten that the ending part is about Paul. And Tommy thought, oh, don't you protect Paul? I was like, bro, he came in, so I paused it to talk to him. Like, you know, I'm just not in. I'm kind of lost interest in being involved in those dynamics, to be honest. And I think Paul seems to be over it. So here he is speaking. Let the man speak for himself. Apologies if I'm doing too much that might sound like speaking for Paul. So that's not my intention. Dow has me blocked so he can talk shit. So yeah, when I see him, I'm going to fuck with him. He's a pathetic slave. Yeah, there you go. I'm more or less conveying that exact message to Dow without the he's a pathetic slave on the end. But yeah, more or less gently informing him that if Paul shows up and doesn't want to read his comments, I guess that's just how it's going to be for that time anyway. So I don't have a problem with that necessarily. So yeah, thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, saturated market, says the freak. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who's who, man. I have no idea. Hey, Sunshine Time says much respect and appreciation. Thank you. Appreciate you, Sunshine Time. Thanks for being here. And sometimes the chat is so lit that I missed the comments initially. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to go back through some of the chat while we listen to while we simulcast OTW's opening here.
As usual, it is presently 12:50 p.m. here Eastern Time, Montreal, Canada. Presently in Fahrenheit degrees, 69 degrees Fahrenheit, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful
for the
sunny
conversion
day.
for the American, sir.
Great day here in Quebec, Canada. So much love and respect to the audience. Let's scout you guys out while we are at it. Let me see who's in the house. We got Mr. BBNB, Bad Barney No Bullets in the house. Welcome, sir. Christos Deliopolis has joined us. Dominic Torsini. We also have our Paul. I Am the Dow. Much love. Welcome to the stream, guys. We also have Sunshine Time. Much love, Sunshine Time. No Despair Bear is in the house. We also have the CIA. Oh, I hope I didn't do anything wrong, Mr. CIA, man. We also have the king, the god of all media himself, Mr. Paul Enslaves in chat. We also have, let me continue, Mr. Heckle Bus, and Luck O'Dear has joined the chat. We have Mr. the Producer Moose, Jimmy Shively, my man's in the house. Oh yeah, all right. We have Wizard, Mr. Hecklebus, The Truden Show, brought to you by Dan Beck. Much love, brother. Benton, hey man, what's up, dude? Thanks for the promo. Jackie Fox 333, what's up? Word Wizard is in the house. So I think we just did everybody. Everybody has been accounted for. So, welcome back to another Wild Grand Rising show here on OTW News. We have a great show lined up for you guys today, and it's completely improvised, so we never know what's going to happen over here. But I hope you guys stick around to see what can happen. You never know. You never know who's going to click that link, who's going to come on up here and talk about who knows what. Right. So we also have Mr. Freedom Grower is in the house. Little Caesar has joined the chat room. Much love. We got 30 people watching right now. Make sure to hit that like button and share this out. Smash that like button, guys. Go ahead and share this out to everybody. Do the whole YouTube mumbo jumbo, the notifications, the bell. Click that, get the notifications. Even if
he's going all in on this.
At least a certain percentage of you gets or receives a notification, which is good. We have Keith Little's also joined us.
Oh, that was shameless. Good God, man.
In the chat box. All right. So I'm going to drop a link right now for anybody who wants to join the stream.
Shit, I kind of want to watch now.
Play.
Good thing I'm rapping at 7 minutes.
Bam. It is in the chat box, ladies and gentlemen. I have been reading the Tao. Yes, I have. So I've read it once.
Cool.
I'm going to be reading it again. And again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And I'm gonna keep reading it till it fucking sinks in, right? So that's what I've been doing. Did that right after I went and opened up one of those contracts. So now that's done. Yeah, right. So I still in my work clothes. I didn't even get changed for the show. We got a Momento Viver. I believe. I hope I pronounced that correctly. One must live, so all of his personalities too must live. Yeah, good. I like that. Great. Yeah. Hey, man, thanks a lot, Benton, for promoting my channel, by the way. I see I'm also watching you right now. I see. Let's have some fun, ladies and gentlemen. Let's share. Where is it?
All right. I believe we're going to pass the baton to Mr. OTW News. Patrick, right?
Screen.
Patrick, I believe.
See what's going on.
So anybody who is so inclined, mosey on over there.
Jeez, at
OTW
a bit slow
News
today. A bit slow.
Channel. And
it'll show up.
Now he's simulcasting us, simulcasting him.
Come on. You can do it. There we go. See, that's me watching me.
Yeah,
watching me.
This is where it gets trippy.
But then, so then it's gonna do that again. It's gonna, it's gonna go on forever and ever.
I can just imagine the kids watching this and look at these boomers. This is like putting one mirror up to another mirror, right? And viewing the infinity. But yeah, we're gonna pass the baton to OTW News. And maybe he'll rap right about the time Paul goes live. You never know. Look for my return to Paul's show in the very near future. Working on ironing out my living situation. Mainly, I just need proper internet without having to stay at the library. The few nights that they're open late, right? Which is a good problem to have. We have an excellent library here. Shout out to the library. All right, folks. I damn near went old man weather. So we're talking about libraries now. That's my cue to get out of here. For Illuma Tommy, 6079 Smith W, I believe. Roy Duggan, Brian O'Shea, and of course, Mr. Paul Enslaved. Thanks for watching. Bye.